Very good evening to all of you. Are you able to hear me? Am I audible? Can you just type in the window? Okay, thank you, Gaurav, Ajay, Govardhan, Rishikesh, Rafiq, Satya, Saujanya. Okay, so we still see people joining in. We'll give for a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Typically, we give about 4 to 5 minutes for people to connect. Hope you're also able to see my screen. Is my screen visible? Okay, thank you again, Nibin, Rafiq. All right, great, Rishikesh. Okay. So when we wait, we would like to know from which place you are joining this session. And okay, Nibin, Delhi. Okay, Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Belgaum, Shraddha, in Kerala, Bengaluru, Aurangabad. Mohan, you join every webinar, Mohan. You're joining from Sri Lanka. So again from Jain, from Bengaluru. Are there anybody is there in the call who is our student already and rejoining? But this is for newbies because who more want to know more about our course. We host this webinar just to bring an awareness about our industry and the job. Is anyone in the call who is already our student? All are newbies registered. Okay. So I don't know if you're already an Emertxe student, how this session will benefit, because majority of things you guys know. Yes, I don't know about it. But this is mainly for, yeah, interns are fine. Interns, you guys may wanted to know more. If you're already an Emertxe student, I'm not sure how this session would. It's more of people who wanted to know how the industry is and what our course is all about. Okay. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So if you wanted to attend, nothing wrong in attending that. So still people are joining in. Yeah, we could see Ashutosh. Hi, Ashutosh. So we have the Bina Sherin from Chennai joining. We wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. You still see people joining in. So may I also know in the meantime your year of pass out, which year are you, 2021, 2022, which year of pass out you are? Okay, 22, 21, we could see 19 here, Rafiq, 19 says Dijisha, 22, good number of them, and I could see somebody from 2015 and 2011. Wow. Then we have Ashwini joining from Chennai. Then Nitin says 2019, Akhil is 2013, and Ashwini is again 2015. That's good. So we have a mixture of audience. We have 2022 says Ajit Kumar. That's good. All right. Okay, then Jainul. So Likit is still studying. I don't know which year of pass out you are. It just says still studying. So 2021 says Rajeshwari. Good. Okay, 16. UG third year says Rishikesh. Okay, we also have students who are in the engineering joining in. That's really good, Rishikesh. If you get this particular idea in your third year itself, it's anyways going to help as you move forward. All right, I think we are 7-5 now. Can I get one final go ahead before we go ahead and start the session? Shall we start the session, guys? Shall we start? Okay, Nibin says yes. Okay, all right. So let us go ahead and start the session. Okay, all well. A lot of cheers I'm getting, thumbs up we are getting. So very good evening to all of you, and welcome all of you to this webinar on course demo and placements journey about our embedded systems course. So my name is Jay Kumar. I will shortly introduce myself. So primarily this particular webinar is aimed for people who are interested to build their career in the core industry, and also who have shown some interest in our course. Either you already spoken to some of our team regarding the course, or you saw our some of the social media posts and registered. So basically there is an interest among you, right? One thing. Second thing, we have been doing this particular course, right, embedded systems course, over the 18 plus years, but still there are a lot of questions among students. So our objective is twofold here. One is to understand the overall landscape of the core industry, how it is shaping up, where are the jobs opening, and how you can equip yourself or skill yourself to make yourself ready for such jobs. And there is also interesting thing that's happening in the core industry, where at least in 2020 second half and 2022 beginning, we are seeing a lot of jobs coming in the core sector, right? What are the factors that is driving the core sector, right? We'll talk about it, and then we'll move on to our course specific, and then we'll give a demo of various components of our course, and then we'll also talk about placements and stuff like that. So overall, this is going to be quite a comprehensive session, and a simple protocol we follow. We follow the chat mainly to interact, because talking, allowing you to talk, kind of disturbs the flow of the presenters. So whenever you have questions, feel free to type in. In Emertxe, we say no question is wrong question, no question is stupid question, right? Every question we'll ensure that they get answered. So sometimes, as I speak, you might have some questions. You don't need to wait, even though we give some pause in between sessions to answer your questions. Anything that comes into your mind, you wanted to go ahead and type it. You feel free to type, and we'll pick it up as and when we take a break, and then we'll ensure each and every question is answered. Okay. So I'm also joined by my colleague and my technology head. Our technologist, Mr. Mubin. So he'll also taking some part of the session, and I'll be taking some part of the session. So that's the overall plan that we have for today evening. Okay. So let me go to the slide mode. So who we are, let us give a brief introduction about our company, and then about myself and Mubin. So basically, we are an edtech company. So we offer training programs in the field of embedded systems, IoT, and full stack web development. So we've been in this particular industry over the past 18 years. We started in the year 2003. We started with a twofold vision, I would say. We started with education in one hand, and other hand, we had our idea of building our own solutions and products. We in fact built some products in the areas like industrial automation, which today people call industrial IoT or industry 4.0. And there are some other products we built in the areas like agriculture automation, which is now people call agri-tech, right? But in the last, I would say last 5-6 years, we wanted to keep our focus in education. So we kind of pivoted from product development, and our focus has remained completely on education. Okay, that's about as a company. We are based out of Bangalore. We are about 70 member team, primarily focused on the training, in these three technologies. Right. So these three trainings are offered to two segment of people. One segment, folks who are completed their engineering and who is looking out for their job. Okay. As you know, in India, there are lakhs and lakhs of graduates pass out every year. Very few of them end up in a campus job, or even if they end up in a campus job, many of them may not end up in a job which they like or which matches to their aspirations. So we train people in the areas like embedded systems, IoT, or full stack development. So these programs are 6 months in duration, and then we help them to get jobs. So that's the first activity, that segment we do. The second focus area is for people who are already working, because once you start getting into employment, the learning should not stop. You should keep learning new technologies. So that's where the upskilling comes into picture. And then we train people who wanted to have their career or achieve some career transition into the core industry. So we train people. And we also train corporate organizations who want to basically improve the skill set of their employees. As you know, in our industry, which is knowledge driven, which means it's heavily people driven, the investment mainly goes in people. If you look at the previous industry, which is like a previous revolution, people call manufacturing revolution, all right. So where the majority of the investments are going towards machinery, and less investments were coming to people. But now it's reverse, right? Majority of investment is on people, very less is on machinery, because this is the biggest machinery that we have, right? So organizations reach out to us to improve this machinery of the employees, to improve their skill set, so that they get more skillful employees and serve their customers better and achieve better competitiveness in the market. So we train people somewhere around 2 years all the way up to 15 years experience on very specific topics that they request for. That's more of a on-demand skills which they learn and then immediately deploy in the project. So that's what we do. In summary, we are a net company, been in this field for 18 years. 3 technology focus and 2 segment or target audience focus is what we've been doing, right? And if you look at the picture that we have in the below, right? I'm always curious to ask this question in my presentations. If you look at this picture that's below, right? There's a pot and a hand. What comes to your mind when you see this picture? Can I get some answers? Focus says Rafiq. Okay. Shaping says Akash and Jainul. Shaping says Likit. Shaping the pot is shaping the future says Saujanya. Handcraft, shaping. Okay. Any other answers? Molding, okay, says Rajesh. Learning is a continuous process. Wow, that's another interesting interpretation by Ajay. Then patience, I think I'm very happy that somebody has said, because that's very hard to see, especially the millennials, right? They want quick results, right? Shaping something to be useful, says Rishikesh. Figure out the future, says Shailaja. Make a good future, says Akriti, right? There are a lot of interpretation, right? Okay, creating a pot, says Tamil, right? So many ways to interpret it. Satisfaction, says Nitin. Oh, okay. So many ways to interpret it. Let me tell our interpretation in 2 ways, right? One is like from Emertxe as an organization perspective, right? We work on a molding, right? You guys, when people join our course, you guys are like clay. We take you, we put them through this particular training programs, and then mold your future so that you become, a pot or usable, or going forward, you build a good career, right? That's one point. And from the student perspective and from your perspective, the way to take a look at it is like, if you wanted to make a pot, you better make your hands dirty, right? You're not going to learn things theoretical fashion, because in engineering, when you look at, people, some of them said you are doing an MTech also. So 4 years of engineering, and then some of you do even 2 years of MTech. 4 years of engineering and 2 years of MTech, will put together, what did you learn, right? Pretty much things remain theoretical, and I would say students become experts in, what do you call, becoming how to crack examinations, right? You become masters of cracking exams, right? So that's the reason why majority of them will not end up in employment, because what you studied in college and what the companies expect, there's a huge gap between these two, right? So that's what is the challenge that we are trying to resolve. And of course, when you are going about doing this process, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of patience, because results are not going to come overnight. That's what I'm happy to see, that somebody use the words like focus, concentration, patience, etc. That's when we see results. Okay, so I'll also show you some of the results what our students are achieving. At least the recent results I will share as we move forward. So let me just introduce our team here. In Emertxe, as I told, we are about a 70 people company. We're there for about 18 years now. So 3 of us are part of the leadership team. As I told, my name is Jai Kumar. I'm one of the members in the core leadership team. And I have my colleague, Mr. Mubin, in the call. And our organization, Emertxe, was founded by Mr. Mas, who is a managing director, who's been running this organization from day one. Okay. So let me quickly introduce myself. So I graduated from NIT Warangal, started my career with a startup called Ishoni Networks. I worked there for about 2 years in the broadband networking area, primarily in the connectivity networking protocols. Then I went to HP, Hewlett Packard, spent about 7.5 years, primarily on their inkjet printer firmware. As you know, HP makes a lot of printers. I was part of the inkjet printer firmware, which you keep it typically in your home or your desk. Since I came from my networking background in my first company, I continued there, what they call connectivity in the context of printers, various interfaces like Bluetooth, USB, Wi-Fi, wired, etc. So those are all called various ports or I/O, we can say. So in that, there are various layers come into picture, which include device drivers, middleware, embedded application, networking applications, etc. So I worked there for 7.5 years. So in my last assignment in HP, I was managing a team. I became a project and program manager, where I was managing a team where we wanted to connect the printer directly to the cloud. Those days were the initial revolution of cloud computing. Now, everything is in cloud. We are using this webinar using cloud, right? You're not installing anything. You're using a browser and you're doing everything through the browser, right? So that was the initial days of cloud computing, where we connected the printer directly to the cloud. So that's where my journey in HP was. So after that, I quit HP, and then I went to Huawei Technologies. Huawei, as you all know, it is a Chinese telecommunication company whose core portfolio was in the telecom and the networking segment. And they make different set of devices. So I was responsible for a team. It was more of a senior manager role or a group manager role, where my team was involved in customizing Linux for various Huawei's products, starting from a small dongle to the home router to the enterprise class switches, etc. So I was leading a team. It was part of the Huawei R&D. I'm seeing that somebody says I work with Huawei. Glad to know that, Ajay. So I was part of the Huawei India Technologies, primarily working on their R&D side. So there were I was leading about team about 60, 70 people, that time. And after that, I quit my corporate career after about 12.5 years. I spent about 3.5 years in Huawei. And then I joined Emertxe about 8 years back. So I joined as one of the core leadership member. So over the years, I handled many responsibilities. I was part of the technical team. Then I moved to the placement. So now I primarily look into the placement. So which means my day involves talking to a lot of companies, interacting with companies, understanding what they want, etc., and how is the job market shaping up, etc. So that's what I do in my current role in Emertxe. Okay, so that's a brief about myself, and I always enjoy interacting with you. See, as you know, the slide sets pretty much remain the same. We do some modifications between one webinar to another webinar. But the beauty of webinar is not me or not Mubin or anybody's going to talk, right? It is you guys who is going to ask more questions and make it very much interesting, right? So feel free to ask questions. I would love to, we would love to answer, almost, rather all the questions, not almost all the questions. Even if it takes more time, we'll ensure that each and every question is answered. Okay. So with that, I would like to pause and I would like to hand over to Mubin to introduce himself. Mubin, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. So welcome everyone to this webinar, and I'll briefly introduce myself. I am the technology head at Emertxe, and it's been almost 12 years since I joined Emertxe. Prior to that, I worked in HP and Novell. So my primary responsibility at Emertxe is to manage a team of technical mentors who are specialized in different technology areas, including embedded systems, IoT, web application development. So our team primarily handles the delivery of trainings for fresh engineers as well as working professionals who are interested to get a job in the core domain and who are interested to learn more about core technologies and maybe upskill them. So I'm glad that we have a large pool of mentors who are like experts in delivering trainings in the area of embedded systems, IoT, and web application development. So prior to joining Emertxe as a core team member, I worked in HP for almost 4+ years, and I worked in multiple teams. One of the teams which I worked in was responsible for developing a product which related to managed printing solutions, and I was part of a team which developed like solutions for the managed printing team. And after that, I got an opportunity to work in Linux print scan fax device driver team, wherein I was a lead engineer developing Linux printer scan fax drivers. So primarily, I have a background in developing and architecting solutions for application software, as well as in the area of embedded systems and IoT. So prior to that, I also worked in Novell, wherein I got an opportunity to explore open source technologies, how basically software is managed in open source. Nowadays, right, things have become very popular. Like you can see projects are available in GitHub and everybody contributes to the source code. So back then, maybe it's like almost, let's say, I would say 14 years back, I got an opportunity to work in like open source, and since then I'm passionate about open source technologies. So today I'll be happy to like answer like your questions, and maybe I'll also walk you through the manner in which we deliver the trainings and what you can expect out of the training delivery. Over to you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Mubin. Thanks for your introduction. So, as I said, we'll divide this presentation into three areas. So, I will first talk about the overall core industry, some of the trends, because as you make a decision to get into this particular industry, right, you also need to know what is happening, why there are so many jobs, and where the future is going to head to. Because you're not going to make a decision which is for your job. Job is what we do it for survival, okay, to take care of our basic needs. So career is something which you wanted to work for longer period of time, right? You work for next 30 years, 40 years, and these days we are talking about life expectancy of 85, and there's no concept of retirement and things like that, right? So you want to do things from a look things from a long-term perspective. So I'll share, mainly the some of the trends which are seeing in the core industry, and brief about how the placements are happening, in Emertxe. So I'll talk about that part, and then I'll hand over to Mubin. So Mubin will cover, as he mentioned in his introduction, he will talk about how the online course is going to get delivered mainly, right? Offline, of course, he will cover, because one critical, interesting point people are always curious to know is like how an embedded systems course is delivered online, and what about hardware? How do we get support? Is learning online is as effective as offline, right? We get tons of questions about that, right? So Mubin will walk you through, showcase our system, walk you through the entire process of how this training is going to get delivered. And then again, on the third part, I'll again pick it up and talk about a bit about the placement as a process, how the placement process works, right? So that's how it is planned. Every section will pause it and take your questions, and I'm already seeing some questions coming in. Prathamesh is thanking, and Rajesh is asking for career switch. Thank you for these messages. Just let me start flowing, and then as we pause, and we'll take up more questions. Okay. So thanks. So let me move on. So as I said, we have been one of the key reasons why people look forward to join our courses is to get placements into core companies. So when I say core companies, companies which are working in the primarily in the embedded software development in the areas like, for example, automotive, semiconductors, consumer electronics, transportation, medical electronics, networking, robotics, IoT, etc. Right? So that is the type of companies we work with, and those are all the companies who hire our students. These are all some of the companies which hire our students. Anyways, I'll show you some of the recent updates about placements, right? So we have about 1,000+ companies which are hiring our students, and across all the domains which I mentioned are the verticals inside embedded companies hire. And coming to the size of the companies, we have different type of companies. We also have small startups working in a niche area, for example, electric vehicles or robotics. And we also have mid-sized companies, for example, a few hundreds of employees, like, for example, Texel Electronics or Benison Technologies. Or we also have bigger companies. Again, bigger companies can be packaged into bigger MNCs or bigger Indian companies. For example, companies like Qualcomm, company like Harman or NXP, you can what you call MNC companies. And we also have Indian companies, for example, Tech Mahindra, HCL, Tata Elxsi, L&T, they also hire, right? And when they come and hire, especially these Indian companies, even though you might see these logos, and say, they're all IT companies, no. When they come to our school, as far as our students are concerned, they come and recruit them only for their embedded vertical. For example, you take an example of L&T, right? They have a huge vertical working on embedded systems. Of course, L&T even builds bridges, right? They even do civil engineering. They're known for not only software or technology, they're even known for civil engineering, right? Construct bridges, construct roads, etc., etc. But when they come to us, they recruit students, especially for their embedded systems vertical. That's why we also have them as clients, right? Often we rule out Indian companies. In fact, this week we even had Wipro coming and hiring our students, right? When they hire for the embedded vertical only, right? So these are all some of the companies which they hire. And I'll just flash a few slides. You can go and look into our website, or watch out our social media, where we keep posting regular updates on what is happening in our placement thing, right? So you can see them, startups, mid-sized companies, and then big companies, right? So that's about our placement portfolio, right? But as I mentioned in my beginning of my conversation, right, we are seeing there's a surge or there's a huge demand in the jobs, especially in a core segment. If you look at from, as you know, right, about 2 years back, that is like, if you look back like 2020 February, or beginning of March, is when the pandemic has set in and the world has gone so many changes. And definitely there were tough times. We all gone through that. But if you look at last year, that is 2021 second half, that is after June, July type of months, right? We started seeing a huge increase in the demand of jobs. And this year, we are almost like a mid of February, like kind of 1.5 months into this new year. We are seeing tremendous job openings coming up in the core sector, right? So according to us, even though people can interpret in various ways, since we are in the education side, and as I told, from the placement team work from companies on a very regular basis. I want to we wanted to share the 5 reasons why there are so many jobs. Okay? Again, not from a course perspective. As I told, you need to understand from a broader skill building perspective and your career perspective. So let me share our idea of top 5 reasons, right? The first reason is why there are so many jobs is that whatever you guys perceive, generally I'm already seeing people asking about questions about tier 2, tier 3 engineering colleges, right? If you look at the logos that are there in this particular screen, for example, you take Qualcomm or NXP, who have been traditionally recruiting from the so-called tier 1 colleges, right? They name IITs or NITs, and every state in India has got top 2 or 3 state-run engineering colleges or privately managed colleges. For example, if you look at Bangalore, there are colleges like RVCE and PES and things like that, where they go and recruit their engineers. So that's what has been happening traditionally over the years, right? So that is changing drastically. Okay? They're looking to hire beyond NITs and IITs for these companies, right? These companies. Unfortunately, they cannot directly go to a tier 2 college in India because there's a huge skill gap, right? I always tell people, if you look at the jobs wise, if you put it in form of a pyramid structure, right? I'm trying to draw using my mouse, okay? Even if it is little not so okay, please pardon me, right? If you look at the bottom of the pyramid, is where what you called as an IT jobs. So IT jobs are plenty in nature. That's why you can see tier 2, tier 3 doesn't matter. Companies like TCS and companies like Cognizant, Go, they hire hundreds of engineers or even thousands of engineers from a campus, right? So they recruit for skills which is easily acquirable and easily trainable. That's why they hire in mass, they train in mass, and then they deploy in mass, right? So that methodology will not work for core jobs, because the core jobs, when you talk about embedded system type of skill, which comes slightly on the definitely on the higher side. For example, I would say this is like a letter E, which you can say it's like an embedded system type of a skill, right? And even if you go further higher in the pyramid, we can say a technology like I'll just say VLSI perspective, right? So the more specific the skills become, right, the number of jobs reduces and the demand goes up, and then of course the salary levels also go up. For example, you talk about Qualcomm, right? Like we have Qualcomm hiring, I'm talking about January, we have 2 of our students getting selected for salary levels like 14.5 and 17.5. Okay, and that too, I'm not including the stock option details. If you include stock option, it even goes past 27.5 kind of numbers, right? So why do they come and recruit such people from beyond NIT and IIT? Because they cannot go to tier 2, okay, because that is only suitable for an IT type of jobs, right? And then you may ask me, sir, then what about, why are they not going to IITs and NITs? What is happening to them, right? That is where the Indian startup story comes in, because today for an NIT graduate or an IIT graduate, right, for them working for a Indian startup is much more attractive than even working for these MNCs. For example, you might have heard about Zomato or Paytm or Ola or Uber, right? These are all the companies that they want to go and work for, right? And you can see people who are having just out of college starting companies. There is a huge venture funding that is coming into India, and companies like even Paytm or Zomato, they're all going and even listing as public companies in the Indian stock market. So what is happening earlier? Let us say, for example, let us say, I know I don't want to put it as an example. Let us say for a case basis, right? Let us say Bosch goes and offers earlier. Let us say they go and offer 50 students in a tier 1 college, right? So earlier they used to get 40 students joining them. So 10 students don't join because they go for a higher studies or they go for other job and things like that, right? So that's what the scenario. Now the situation is drastically changing, where the joining ratio is very less because they are going and joining these Indian startup companies. So and as I said that they cannot go to a tier 2 college because they won't get a skill. So what is the option? They need to come to a place where skilled people are available. That is where they come to training institutions or finishing schools like us, right? So this is one major trend. If you look at, as I told, I've been, been doing this placement activities for about 8 years in Emertxe. We're not seeing so much of job search, at least as far as my knowledge goes. One of the reason is this type of a phenomena is change. So which means to say it is no longer a dream, right? I'm from a tier 2 college or I'm from tier 3 college. Can I achieve a job in Honeywell? Can I achieve a job in Continental? Can I achieve a job in Ampere Computing? This is no longer a dream. It is very much possible, right? So that's one reason number one. Okay. Then reason number two, across the board, if you look at the mid-sized companies, MNCs, right, there's a huge amount of jobs moving to India because, as you all know, pandemic has set in and almost everybody started working from home. And I was in conversation with one of my other friend 2 days back. He said almost for 2 years he has not seen office, right? So which means to say what people who are having the headquarters in the West, right, typically in the US and UK or somewhere in Europe, they are getting more comfortable to get work done from India than they were before. For example, earlier there could be some hesitancy to move the work to India. They may be wondering, right, how do I remotely get the work done? And there could be some concerns about how people will deliver, etc., which has changed tremendously in terms of mindset. Even if you talk about learning, right? Earlier we used to say, hey, do a webinar, we will see, as if we are a different human being, right? Now when you come and use the word called webinar, you're all comfortable with it, right? So the same thing has happened with companies where remote working or remote collaboration has very much become possible. So because of that, lot of projects are moving to India across, mid-sized companies, big companies, startups. They're all having more work. So this is another reason why there are so many jobs, right? Reason number two, it's a pandemic and remote work. Reason number three is very interesting, where some of the phenomena that is happening in countries like India, is driving more jobs. Where the earlier scenario where, let us say, for example, a Qualcomm or let us say Honeywell, which is having an headquarters in US, or a Robert Bosch, which is having an headquarters in Germany, they used to get work done from India. Their headquarters used to be in other country, right? But if you look at the recent phenomena where companies which are based out of India are innovating a lot, especially a segment like electric vehicles, right? If you look at electric vehicle, traditionally we have two-wheelers and four-wheelers. But if you look at a two-wheeler, which is like predominant in countries like China, India, or any of these Asian countries, right? So where India has got an opportunity to innovate and lead the world, right? Companies like, for example, Aether Energy, Ola Electric, right, are coming up within two-wheelers. Yeah, of course, we still have a long way to go, but innovation has started happening. In fact, last Friday, we had a webinar about electric vehicles by one of our well-known expert from Texas Instrument. He talked about various factors which is driving this electric vehicle phenomena and why India can take a leadership role there. So that is one phenomena to watch out for, technically speaking, right? And second thing, people are always talking or going gaga about machine learning and artificial intelligence ruling the world. In fact, colleges are introducing BTech in machine learning. Earlier, it used to be a computer science department, right? Then it became IS, then it became an IT. Now we see computer science has got 6 different departments. One says artificial intelligence, one says machine learning, one says image processing, right? They keep on introducing more branches, right? So irrespective of all the gagas, all the hypes going about machine learning and artificial intelligence, just pay thought for one particular reason, that your machine learning can only work if you have a data, right? You have a data and you build a model using the data, then you predict how it is going to work tomorrow. For example, you can say, okay, I have last 10 years of share prices with me, and I run through a model, then I predict how a share price of a company will look tomorrow, or next week, or 1 month down the line, right? So your machine learning can only operate when you have data, which they call data set in their domain. But you look at embedded systems as such, right, as being one of the key sources where the data is getting generated, right? The reason why it is because every device today can be instrumented, be it like, so let us say, for example, you take a small water bottle, right? I can put a sensor here and then I can measure how many liters of water I drank on a particular day, right? I can probably, install a sensor in my, wireless headset and then measure, how much time I'm spending in my wireless headset, right? So like that, any small device can be instrumented today thanks to the sensors that is available, right? So embedded devices has become source where the data is getting generated, because of which the embedded systems and the semiconductor, it is going through a revolutionary change. Okay, it's not a small change I'm talking about. It is not there in the press, it is not there in the media. But if you just look at last 12 to 18 months, in fact I will talk about it in one of the other reasons, we're talking about semiconductor crisis, right, where companies are not able to generate enough chipsets. That's the kind of demand we are talking about, right? And these semiconductor companies are growing at a very, very healthy pace, because end of the day, when you wanted to have a data, you need something to some device to generate, and that device need the computation power, need that particular chipset, need that particular embedded software, right? So when people talk about machine learning, don't think it is only for computer science graduates, it is only for application development. Your embedded systems are very much part of it, because of which lot of new jobs are getting created. Okay, so please watch out for that. In fact, we are planning to do one more webinar going forward about that. Probably watch out for that in our social media as well, right? To primarily talk about how embedded systems and machine learning and artificial intelligence are connected. Okay, that's the second phenomenon. Third one, areas like, for example, automation, right? So one of the other reasons that people have learned during the pandemic is not to over depend on human beings, right? So wherever it is possible, of course, you cannot completely replace human beings, but wherever it is possible, can you do it using robots, right? Can you, replace using certain tools and certain sensors and certain mechanisms where you can automate things. So that's where areas like robotics, industrial automation, or what you call IoT coming into picture, which is driving more number of jobs. And we can see a lot of companies, a lot of Indian companies innovating in all the three areas mentioned here. And the companies are only increasing as we speak about, right? So this is another trend to watch out for. Then the fourth reason, which is a known problem, which we've been talking over decades now, is about the industry academia gap, right? Which I mentioned in the initial point itself. Why today a tier one company cannot go to a tier two college and hire? Why probably Qualcomm cannot go to a tier two college and hire? The reason is not about students are not smart, students cannot do the job. No, right? They're not having the right set of skill. Statistically speaking, about 2024 and 25, we expect India to generate about 31 lakh engineers, right? If you look at traditionally, engineering has become like a basic degree that probably if you look at our parent generation, they'll say I studied SSLC, or they'll say I studied a PUC, right? Or I did a BSc, right? But our engineering has become a basic degree where due to the demand that engineering has generated, the colleges got opened up left, right, and center. We have roughly about 3,500 plus colleges in India, which is going to generate about 31 lakh engineers, in which about 4 lakhs are getting through campus interviews, and then about 1 lakh students go for higher studies, right? So they go and do their higher studies abroad. So if we reduce that 5 lakh people, there are 26 lakhs jobs, 26 lakh students are going to be there every year who is not having the right skills to get their job. And you go all around the place looking out for various jobs, discovering yourself, skilling yourself, etc., etc., right? And we have been talking with a lot of academians, right? Academicians, professors and principals and HODs. And the sorry state is that we don't see the situation improving. Given the mindset of the academia, it's not going to change. So that's where the role of organization like Emertxe to come and plug that particular gap. So this is also one of the reason why there is so many jobs. I would say more number of jobs are chasing lesser number of skilled people, right? Even though there are 26 lakhs people are available for jobs every year, it's not about quantity, right? It's about the quality, or I would say the skill that people are going to have. Okay, this is the fourth reason why you are seeing so much jobs. Okay? And fifth one, I mentioned about this, right? India is becoming electronics hub by being the preferred global destination for what you call ESDM. If you watch out for the recent trends, right? You would study about, just go and Google about semiconductor crisis, or silicon to, what do you call, a chip or silicon to product kind of initiative that government of India is driving, right? So government is doing a lot of things in this ESDM sector, right? What is ESDM sector? Electronic System Design and Manufacturing, right? So you are no longer, definitely post pandemic, people have got their own reservations about China, and making China as the manufacturing destination. So definitely India looks more vibrant, more safe, and more conducive to do manufacturing, which is going to generate a lot of lower on the pyramid jobs, diploma holders, IT holders, and things like that. But they're not going to manufacture if you're not design, right? So definitely it is going to derive a lot of design jobs. That's the numbers you are seeing here. About 76,000 crores invested by government to promote semiconductor design and manufacturing. And please note, when I say semiconductors, when you have a chipset or when you have a board, that board or a chip cannot operate alone. It's like, having a chip or a board is like something like a body, right? Only an organ cannot do. You need a life inside it, right? So the life comes because of the embedded software. So which is going to drive at least about 85,000 jobs as we move forward. And around 1,140 companies are doing that R&D work already out of India, right? So these are all the reasons why you see the core job is going to grow more. Okay? Hope it makes sense. Okay. So now you may be wondering, right? So how does it matter to me, right? Sitting in a, suppose if I at a ground level, right? You're talking about trends and how it looks like high level. At a low level, what does it mean to me as a fresh engineer or somebody who wanted to start my career in the core industry, or who wanted to achieve a career transition into the core industry? How does it matter to me, right? And this is a graph I show in every webinar, whether it's a Emertxe student or external webinars like this, right? So this is a statistics what the realistic numbers what we see in Emertxe, right? The numbers you can put in there are nothing but the number of drives happen in Emertxe month on month. So when I say drive, a company comes to us and then say they require a particular skill set, and we float an application with our students. Our students apply, and we share the list to the external companies, and they call our student for a written test or interview, right? So that's when we call it as a drive. Okay. So if you look at there are three colors there. If you look at blue is a 2020, and red is 2021, and green is 2022. You can see the pillars there, right? You can see just high level trends how it is shaping up. If you look at 2020, right, it started off reasonably well, about 22 companies hiring in January, right? But and as February also, I would say pretty decent. We did about 18 drives in February, right? And from March, April onwards, it went totally down, because the reason, the pandemic came, and the work from home was, companies were clueless how to work from home, and how to basically how long this pandemic is going to last, how we are going to handle. None of us had any clue. In fact, even if you go and ask your grandfather, even they are not seen a pandemic like this, right? Probably and some of you are passing out, or some of you are in the final year, you're being called corona batch and things like that, right? So that was a pretty hard time. If you see, even our students, they were asked to vacate the PG and go home, and they were like, their careers were at crossroads, right? But what has happened after that, around May, June time onwards, we could see started seeing recovery, where companies have understood that the pandemic is going to stay for good amount of time, at least 18 to 24 months, which is the kind of time horizon that we are looking at now. And they also adapted the remote working, right? If you look at, for an example, some of the students who got placed in May 2020, some of the initial timeline where the pandemic was, the lockdown got lifted, and first lockdown, nationwide lockdown got lifted. From May 2020 even till today, February 2022, they're still working from home, right? Many of our students, they're not seeing their managers physically, they're not walked into their office. Everything is happening digitally, right? So this is a change we have started seeing. And if you look at 2021, reasonably the job market or the drive started picked up in the later half of the year, where we started seeing some decent improvement as the year progressed, and we closed December 2020 by doing about 20 drives. So that was the situation in what you call the year 2020, right? 2021, I would say, started off reasonably cautious, because we're just out of the first wave. If you remember, last year the same time is where the vaccine started coming in. So people and companies were cautious about their investments, about their new project initiatives, etc. So there were little bit of hesitancy in which the hiring started. But I would say we could started seeing a significant improvement in the first half itself. You can see here, first half itself, we had about on an average, the numbers started going, like say, if you look at April of 2020 versus 2021, we had one drive in April and we had 29 drives in what do you call, in the April 2021, right? And then, as I told, specifically in the second half, the curve started going. You can see the tall red pillars, right? It's going, started surging. And in October 2021, I would say a remarkable milestone as far as Emertxe is concerned. Where we did 51 placement drives. We said, we hit a half century, and then the year went and closed quite well. We did about 42 drives in the month of December. Okay? So that's on the year 2021 has closed, right? But 2021 is, I would say, is really on a song where, it's we in January alone, we had done 71 drives, which is, like you can see, right, almost like 4 times or 5 times than higher than what we done over the years. And in January 2022, we have floated 118 applications, 118, right? That I would say we crossed 100 companies visiting Emertxe in January 2021, out of which 71 drives have happened. Because what happens is, when you float an application, companies take time to schedule the interview. Sometimes our students, we will not be able to be this thing, right? The good news is that we are not able to give schedule. It's going so tight, and then students are getting same time they're getting interview from 2 companies, right? So we are finding it difficult. So that's why we space it and schedule, right? That's when we did 71 drives. And February is also looking really, really promising. We have already done, 32 drives. And February we floated 65 plus applications. So February being little shorter month, right? Kind of 3-4 days less than the rest month. At least we should cross easily, 40, 50 plus drives, right? So this is a type of job search we are seeing. So what I mentioned in the first set, right? The 5 trends which I mentioned, it's more of a high level. What is happening, the geopolitical reasons, technical reasons, and some of the skill reasons, right? Which is translating into this type of a bottom line job opportunities for skilled people, right? And when this type of an opportunity is presented to our students, right, who are doing our embedded systems course, and by the way, majority of them are from humble background, and they all come from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, and majority of them learn online. They become very much adaptive, and then they are able to connect from their home and learn. Okay, and then they are able to see the success stories, right? So let us see at a ground zero how our success story looks. At least the recent, I picked up some. Of course, you can dig out our social media to get more recent ones. What I did, I picked up my January, kind of January, February data. So let me show the success story in various categories, because as I asked in the beginning, right? Let me take some water. So some of you said I'm a 2021, some of you said 2022, some of them said I'm a 18, 19, like that. Right? We have variety of audience here, right? So let me chunk it and show you, success stories in various categories, right? So let me first open up what you call the freshers success stories. So when I say fresher, these folks are predominantly from 2021 and 2020. Okay, that's what we consider as freshers, because 2022 you are still not completed their engineering, right? So this is the kind of success story which you are seeing in the last 1 or 2 months. You can see this like a January or a February data, or worst case some few from December data, right? So we are having success stories like, for example, South, Mohammed South, who is getting a job with Qualcomm. 14.5 lakhs is his salary, and along with that, he got, I think, about $10,000 worth of shares, which is roughly adds about 7 lakhs. If you add that also, even though we don't mention it as a stock option separately, which is easily adds up to about 21.5 as a overall package, right? 14.5, I'm only talking about the cash component, right? So people are able to, and by the way, he's a student from Delhi, right? He learned remotely and he's an online student, right? Okay, this is one phenomenal success story in the recent past, right? Okay. Not necessarily him, right? Many other students are also able to achieve similar ones. For example, the very recent one, I think it's the last week example about Roja. She's from Government Engineering College, Bargur, and she's our on-site, or she learned from our center, okay? And she's able to crack another premium job with Maveny System, which is one of the networking software and solution company. Can just go and look for them, and she started with a salary levels of 12 lakhs per annum. And we also have, as I told, automotive has been one of the major job churner, be it Robert Bosch, Continental, Vitesco. Vitesco is, by the way, is one of the Continental group companies. Recently, I guess they become an independent company, but pretty much it comes under the Continental umbrella, based out of Germany. And you can see, students like Prem, who is from Maharashtra, again an online student landing in a job of, opportunity of 5.25 lakhs. Okay? And then similarly, we have Prasanna from Bharat Institute of Higher Education Research, Chennai. Again, he's an online student landing in a job like this. And Continental, as I already told, about 6 lakhs package in January. And I think in February, we had about 15 plus students getting selected in Robert Bosch. I tried to collect the photos. My team is collecting the information. Soon we will see that information also. Some of them are already out in social media. I could not get an opportunity to check. Robert Bosch has hired good number of our students, I think, for about 5 or 5.5 lakhs as a salary. Okay. This is the type of success stories, right? And there are companies like Olive Semiconductors, again Nisarga from our online course. Even though she's from Bangalore, she landed in a package of 4.5. Okay. And again, the story goes on with Continental again. Okay. And then company like Data Patterns. It is not necessary that everybody need to start with that type of package. We have people who are starting with even 3.6, around 4-ish kind of packages. As I initially told, we often rule out Indian companies when it comes to embedded system jobs. That's the example I wanted to show here. For example, HCL is one of the companies which does a lot of embedded work, which is not visible outside. In fact, they've been pioneer from the beginning. I passed out about 20 years back. If you look at HCL and Wipros, where our dream jobs, where we could go for core jobs, right? They still do a lot, right? So HCL comes and hired people like Venkatasai. And Capgemini, by the way, many of you again think it's an application company. No, they acquired a company called Altron. Altron was before it was called Ericent. Ericent was before it's called Flextronics. Before it was called Hugh Software. There've been a lot of merger and acquisition happen, and Capgemini has got a very strong portfolio in embedded systems. So they come and hire our students. Okay? Again, people like Sai Teja is our online students cracking the job, right? And then we have other companies like Luxsoft, is not more of a mid-sized organization offering decent salary packages to start with. Again, Tech Mahindra, okay, this is again a very good example of landing in a, what do you call, studying online, getting an embedded job with a Tech Mahindra. Okay. So you can see these are all the people, and as I told, these folks are from either 2020 and 2021 pass, right? What you call freshers. Okay. And you can see the combination. People are from online, people are from offline. I would say recent past we are seeing very good trend where our online students are able to crack premium jobs, right? Then people may be wondering, sir, I'm from older batch. I'm from 1918. Some of them may think, I'm 16, 15. How do I transition? Is it that those students are not getting jobs? No, okay, definitely they are also getting very good jobs. For example, similar to South, as I told, is a 2021 pass out. We had another student. Her name is Aishwarya Chandani. She was working in the Aeronautical Defense Agency, which is one of the defense organizations, and she joined our online course because she's a working professional. So she taken our evening class. We run between 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. classes. Anyways, Mubin will talk more about the timings and stuff like that. And she could crack a job of 17.5 lakhs as the salary, right? If you look at between Saud and Aishwarya, so they offered him 14.5, and she is being offered 17.5 because when Qualcomm saw her profile, they could also give value to the experience that she brought in. Okay? And that could be again from a core embedded profile, or some of them may be coming from non-embedded profile. That is purely up to the company. So they do evaluate and give good value to your previous experience. So that's why what happened, South joined at I think some level 1, for example, and she directly joined at level 2, and 17.5 lakhs, I think she had about 16,000 US dollar stock option. If you add 27.5, that's what you see in our website. And people always ask us, is really true somebody's getting a 27.75 lakhs salary? Yes, it is, right? If you add up stock options, definitely that's the number we are talking about, right? I think she's from a 2018 pass out, Aishwarya Chandani, and it is a January success story, right? And similarly, we have people who are from 18, 17, 16. So these are all the folks, even though I don't remember exactly, but they're from a 2018 and above, 17, and even we went all the way up to 2014. Okay, who got jobs? We had people like Harita, and again an online student getting into LG. LG, as you all know, it's a South Korean consumer electronics company, right? And similarly, we had Hinduja from an older batch. She's again an online student and got job with a company called Microchip. Many of you who would have used the PIC-based microcontroller, I'm sure Microchip is a very popular name among students as well. And one of the unique thing about Microchip is that Emertxe is the only institute where they hire from. Okay, we are their exclusive kind of a partner, because they see the skill improvement in our students and they hire. And what I understand is they even went up to 10 lakhs to our students, right? They say 7.5, and a good number of them are getting referred for 10 lakhs as a salary. And by the way, these folks are all from 2018 and above batches. Similarly, we had Arun, who studied in US, and then he came back and he wanted to start his career in India. We could get him placed at NXP Semiconductors at 8.5. And we had people like Devjyoti. I think he's a 2014 pass out. Anyways, I think one more slide is there which I show. He could also resume his career after a long break. And when they come to us, they come with a lot of hopelessness. They're saying that we tried many things. I tried government jobs. I tried GATE, or I had an IT job, or I had a non-technical job which was not satisfying my career. Right? They come and then they take up the course, and this is a type of success story they should achieve. Right? And we had people like Rupa, who's another mid-sized company like Onward Technologies, and we had Nirmesh getting into Exaleap. Again, another chap, Prabhakar from Elif Semiconductor. You can see, right? We could see Elif Semiconductor hiring the 2021 also, and then the previous batch students also, and then Urvashi Nayak, who's got a job in Partner again for a pretty good salary, right? So these folks are from more than 2020 and 2018 and above. Okay. I see a lot of questions coming in. I'll answer. Give me some time. After this example, I'll stop. Right. I'll take up questions. Right. And there are a lot of people who are in this call who would have taken a break due to some reasons. Right. One of the key examples that we see is our girl students, right, who either due to relocation after marriage, or they had kids who are coming in, right, where they need to take a break due to pregnancy, etc. Right. So we have a lot of such people coming to us, and then they take up the course and then achieving a career break. So these are all some of the success stories. For example, we had Ruchi from a 2019 batch. She lost her job, or she needed to quit due to a pandemic, and then she could get a placement in her first attempt itself into Vitascope. Okay. This, I think, somewhere around December timeline, right? Similarly, we had Tapas, right? He had a 1 year of gap. He tried certain few things, and then things did not work out, so he came and joined our course, right? And you can see, right, people are telling, right, I'm a 2016 graduate with a 5-year gap, and and they say finally he could at least even if not a great starting thing, he could start with a decent one in a Limestone Corporation. And by the way, he's an online student, right? He you can see that no difference between online and offline training in terms of placement as well as a training, right? So he could do that. Okay. And we have another student. She's Sangeeta, 2014 pass out, and then she had a work for some time, again pregnancy, again work for some time, again break due to second kid. They came in, and then she could get job into boAt. I hope all of you can relate to boAt, which is one of the top-notch consumer electronics, all the wireless headsets and all the other. It's actually, I'm very happy about boAt, because it's changing the way how the world is looking into India as a consumer electronics company. We talk about LG, right? We say it's a Korean company. So boAt, we can proudly call it's an Indian consumer electronics company, right? And we had people like Anjana, right, who had done various type of jobs and then joined and achieved our break. then I spoke about Debjyoti, right, in the previous slide, right? You can see, right? I never thought I would be able to get a job after 6 years gap, right? He had, I think it's a 2014 pass out. He could come and join, and he came all the way from West Bengal, and then he could get a job. Okay. So the story goes on, right? We can talk all day long. Right, as I told, I could only pick up few examples from what I could gather. You can watch out for our, social media where our team keeps posting the latest thing, right? But I just picked up three varieties of people who could, either a fresher or career transition, or from older batch, career break. We had all possible people learning in all possible jobs. But one common aspect that you need to think before I get into the question and answer is a skill. Okay. Please note, companies do not come to Emertxe and hire our students. And as you all know, these are reputed companies. And the 70% of our recruiters are repeat recruiters. Okay. They come and again hire. Okay. So they come to us because they get skilled people. And the skilling is the core reason why those companies are, as I told, right? They cannot go to tier 2, and they cannot, the tier 1 folks are not joining them. So that's where, institutions like us are becoming a very attractive for, big companies, and that is becoming life changing for students, like whatever I shown, right? So it's a phenomenal opportunity for all of you guys who are listening in this particular webinar, right? So skilling is the bottom line. Okay. So let me take a question. I could see a lot of questions already coding. Let me take one by one, and then I'll answer. Then I'll hand over to Mubin. So the next section would be about course demo, right? But before that, let me take some questions. We have question from Rajesh. Rajesh is asking, I'm working in power sector for 5 years, planning to switch my career. Is it possible to switch from power sector to embedded, as it is completely different sector? Please give me some suggestion, right? Absolutely possible, Rajesh. No need to have any concern. It is very well possible. In fact, as I showed the example of Aishwarya, she was working in a defense sector, right? Totally may not be directly related to embedded. In fact, it has happened with multiple companies. When they hire also, they do give some value to your previous experience, right? But the important point is, when you join our course, ensure that whatever our mentors are telling, the skill building part, in terms of our assignments, in terms of projects, in terms of you being regular to the class, if you follow that, definitely you will be able to achieve the career break. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Companies are not coming to us because you have year of pass out or percentage. That game is no longer true. They come to us because we have people with a specific skill. Okay. If you can build on your skill building part of it, showcase at least 7 to 8 projects in your resume, and put up a very impressive profile, why not, right? I don't see any reason why you cannot achieve the break. Okay. Hope that's clear, Rajesh. You can just put okay. Anyways, message is a little low. Let me and go to the next question from Prathamesh Iyer. He's asking, why aren't core companies willing to recruit students from tier 2 or tier 3 colleges? The students have to enter into IT domain with no interest. This is an interesting question, right? In fact, I partially answered this question, Prathamesh, right? The main reason is skill. Okay. As I told you, IT companies who recruit in bulk, for example, TCS goes and hires 1,000 students, and some of the colleges, I don't want to take names, they even publish Limca book of records saying that TCS hired 3,000 people, right? Okay, 2,000 people on day 1, 1,500 people on day 2, right? Or in initial 1 week, 4,000 students got placed. You can see, colleges are showcasing such, achievements, right? But what is happening today, the companies, whatever the logos which is shown, right, they cannot go because embedded system is not a skill which is not easily, trainable like what an IT company is, right? Or I tell another example, I don't know if you're already attending this webinar, right? Maybe this example will look repetitive. I always talk about in a restaurant, right? In a restaurant, you have many type of people. You have people who are people who serve the food, right? What you call servers or bearers, people who are in the billing counter, right? And people who clean the facility and ensure it's clean, etc. But the most important person is the chef, right? Who is inside the kitchen, who is not even visible to you, who is doing the job. Because you will tolerate if the service is not so great, but if the food taste is not good, you're not going to tolerate, right? So that's a type of skill set, right? Your embedded system skill set is like a skill set of a chef, which is not easy and relatively less in number, right? So that's the reason why we are seeing a major misfit, right? Where an electronic student getting into a service company with no interest. And we are also having a societal challenge. In fact, we run a free internship program where this point becomes a very hot topic in every discussion, right? I tell this example, right? Suppose you get a IT job. Let's say you got a job in TCS, right? You can't go and tell your father or mother, hey, I don't want to do IT job. I want to quit and go and do a core job, right? They'll say, go out of the house, right? So they'll say, what, Tata job you're not doing, right? So that's the aspirational mismatch we are seeing today. Okay? Why? Because you are being forced, as you rightly said, right? You're being forced to a job where you're not interested in. Right? So the only answer is skill, right? Tier one, MNC companies cannot go to tier two or tier three, even though the larger population, larger engineering students are there. The skill they cannot get, and that skill is also not easily trainable, right? Or I would even put one more example, right? How many Java training institute you can find, right, in India, and in every small town you can think of, right? Probably thousands. But how many embedded training institutes you can find in India, right? Even if you look at Bangalore, then you can count using fingers, right? If you go to smaller towns, you can't even find many, right? So that's a challenge, right? The higher the skill, the more challenging it is to learn, the more specific it becomes, and you get highly paid, right? A chef will any day will get highly paid than a server. Suppose some server guy says, I'm not going to come from tomorrow, the owner will say, get lost, right? Okay, I will replace you with anybody just like in a matter of week or two. But the chef leaves, right? This owner will be worried. In fact, that's why people say dosa master or paratha master, because the skill is not easy to uh, obtain and train. You can keep this analogy so you will be able to put things into perspective. Okay. Hope that clarifies, Prathamesh. You can type in the end. I'll pick it up. Right. And there's a question from Sonal More. Is asking, is IoT course available in online mode? Okay, interesting question. I would say this is our internally discussed or debated topic. Okay, because if you look at in Emertxe, we offer two courses. One is on embedded systems course, which is available in both online and offline. But if you look at our IoT course, which is pretty much available offline, people have to come to the center and learn. One of the major challenge that we have faced is due to hardware, right? In an embedded online course, we could resolve the hardware challenges technically, so that we could launch it online. And as you can see, right, online and offline, there's no difference in terms of learning as well as placements, right? But online IoT, we've been facing some technical challenges, which I believe we are almost resolved. Okay, very soon you will hear from us that our IoT course will go online. We're already, I would say, as a core team, we're almost closing in on the technical challenges. Maybe Mubin can comment on this further when he takes over, right? I would say almost we are there. Okay. And we have Muzaffar asking, what is the average package of an embedded profile? As I showed you, a variety or a range of salaries. You can roughly put average about 4 lakhs. That's a kind of an average package. You can saw the range, right, depending on the company. Hope that is clarify, Muzaffar. Then we have Prathamesh again asking, microchip offering 10 lakhs per annum only to experienced guys who is coming with couple of years of experience in embedded field. No, Prathamesh. I'm talking about our students, right? Our students getting 10 lakhs salary, right? Even though they put 7.5, I know some of our own students getting 10.5 lakhs as a fresher. They don't have any experience. But I think in last webinar, I shown one more student. I think her name is Anaga. Anaga got joined with a 10 lakh salary. Even if they see in the interview performance, right? Somebody is performing better. Two students, one student getting 7.5, another student is getting 10 lakhs. Our own student, both of them, right? It's possible. So 10 lakhs microchip happening for our student who is a fresher, 2020 or 2021 pass. Okay. Hope that's clear, Prathamesh. Then we have Manikandan. Manikandan says, I completed my bachelor in 2010. Since 2010, I am working in mining equipment electrical project. Now I'd like to switch my career. After a lot of Google search to learn embedded system, I found Emertxe. And my question is how the organization will consider my experience, how I get placement. This long gap will impact placement. As I told you, Manikandan, you already saw some of the good success stories. People are able to resume after 7 years, people are able to resume after 6 years, right? So I don't see that becoming a major constraint for you to resume your start your career in core. Okay, that is answer number one, right? I think I already answered the similar question. Question number two is about your previous experience. Suppose you have 10 years, like almost like 11 years, right? 12 years, I would say. 2010 you are telling 12 years of experience in mining. How much equivalent experience they will consider in core, right? That I would say purely depends on the company, right? I told an example of Saud and Aishwarya, right? Both of them are our students. Aishwarya was working in what you call a defense organization, right? When she joined, they could fit her in a higher salary band, right? Right? Somebody is not muting. Request all of you to mute. Okay. So that is the challenge. So that 10 or 11 years experience, how they will be considered, we will leave up to companies, right? But what we see is that most of them do consider whether that 12 will exactly map to 12. I doubt, which is not possible, also not fair, also to ask. At least if they map half, let us say you being coming from 10, 12 years in mining, can you consider to half, or I'd say 25% into embedded experience, and then remaining up with our course, if they're able to fit in probably instead of hiring at an entry level, they can hire at a senior engineer level. It's all possible. Okay. Again, the point is how well you are able to build your skill in our course. I would say that would be the more differentiator than your past. They say, okay, fine, we can tell this kind of your experience in the later point in time when you go for subsequent rounds. But in the initial round, when they're evaluating you, they're going to evaluate you based on the embedded skill set which you learned in our course. Okay. So my request is focus on this part. Other part, let the companies who decide. One. Yeah, and it is very well possible. As I showed you, I already showed you some examples. As days progress, we are seeing more and more success stories. If we show everything, then whole webinar will go only showing photos, right? We don't want to do that. If you want, please go to our Instagram, where you can see our team tries to publish every information as soon as we can. Go and check on the website. All the data is there. Same whatever you are seeing, very well will be there. Hope that clarifies money content. Okay. Then we have Ajay. Sorry, I wish to interrupt you. Suppose someone is looking for like Qualcomm, NXP, microchip, most likely top MNC embedded company. So can you guide? Is there any pass out years criteria for these MNCs for recruitment process? No, as I already told you, right? I told a classic example of Aishwarya versus South, right? And I showed you many examples where people like NXP, right? I think I forgot the New Jersey student, I forgot his name. He's a 2018 or 17 pass out. Okay. So there is nothing called as, your year of pass out becoming in hindrance, right? Yes, some of the companies do expect, okay, for an year of pass out, which we need to, understand, but I don't think that is becoming a major constraint. As I told you, you are changing the rule of the game. Okay, earlier you were playing the game of year of pass out and your percentage or a CGPA, right? Or you're playing a test match. Now the rules of the game is becoming T20, right? Where you are going to be judged based on your embedded skill set and what you learned in Emertxe. So they'll give more weightage to that and then lesser weightage to your background. And as I saw in the case of Ajay, they may even evaluate your previous experience also. Okay? So if you ask me, is ERA pass out is a constraint, or will ERA pass out will limit me to land a job in any of these premium companies? The answer is no. Definitely, that's not going to be the barrier. What is going to be the barrier or challenge is how well you build your skill. That's going to be the only challenge, I would say. Okay. Hope that is clear, Ajay. Okay, and there's a question from Jainul. He's saying, sir, how the industry is seeing online? I don't know. I'm not seeing that. Okay. Then there's a question from Akshay. So which is better, PLSI or embedded? Okay, again, this again a classic question, right? So as you showed in the job pyramid, right? Your IT jobs come in the bottom, where there are more number of jobs, easy to enter, easy to train, and the salary levels will progress in a reasonably good fashion. For example, if you take 5 years later or 10 years later, you compare a IT service job salary person and an embedded systems person versus VLSI person, right? It won't be same. Okay. So specifically talking about VLSI, I would say comes one layer above the embedded, which is even more niche, which is even more harder to learn, harder to train. That's why I'm telling, right? In VLSI training, if you look at institute, right, it will be even lesser than embedded, okay, where the salary levels are even higher than, or equally, or sometimes even higher than embedded, right? So both of them provide very good career opportunities. But if you're choosing embedded, you will be on the embedded software side. Okay? If you choose VLSI, you'll be on the hardware side. So that's a major difference as far as the job profiles are concerned. So we leave it up to you whether if something like building a hardware, building a chip, or building a troubleshooting, your chipset or troubleshooting a board is what excites you. Go and do VLSI. Okay? But no, sir, I want to build products. I want to build, electric vehicles, or I want to see an IoT solution working. The software part, which is making everything smart, right? That is what excites you. Go for embedded. Okay, I would say, both are really, really good. Okay. I think Sudha is trying to say she had a year gap. I think Sudha, I think I already clarified. Many students with year gap are able to see the results. Hope that clarifies your question. Then we have Himadri. Himadri is saying he's completed BTech in the year 2013. I have more than 5 years of experience in O&M. I think that's operational management, if I'm not wrong. Want to build a career in embedded system. Can I get a job or not? The same answer, Himadri, what I already answered you. Definitely possible. Build on your skills, right? And then absolutely no problem. Okay. Sudharani, no problem with respect to your year gap. So you can see we've gone as well up to 7 years of year gap. People are able to achieve their career break. If you are 10 years, why not, right? You come and break it. You make that 7 to 10, right? Very well possible. 7, 5, 10 doesn't matter. When you go to tomorrow to an interview, they're going to assess you what you learned in Emertxe. If you are able to answer, if you're able to convince the skill set and explain the reason why there is a gap, right? I'm pretty sure it could be a genuine reason. Explain them, they understand, and you are in, right? No company is trying to, even they are telling, leave all these stories, right? Show me a guy who can deliver me tomorrow, a guy or a girl. That's what they're expecting. Okay. Then there's a question from Jainul Shah. Sir, how the industry is seeing online and offline embedded Emertxe course? Okay. Again, that's interesting first, right? How the industry not seeing anything, right? In fact, when they hire our students, right, 95% of the hiring happens online. Okay. When I say 95%, your written test, interview, selection, offer letter, even onboarding. As I told, one of the students who joined in May 2020, he is still working from home. Right, I'm still in touch with him. He pings me often and then say, what is he doing, right? So the entire hiring process is online. Okay. Only very few companies, when I say 5%, that also I would say on the higher side, only call them to come physically and attend, that too on the last round. Okay. So pretty much the hiring process is online. Okay. Second thing, when we share the list to the companies, right? When they share the list to the companies, we will not say you are an online student or an offline student. I would say the companies are also not bothered. Okay. Online and offline is more of the way how you learn, right? You're telling, right, I want to reach Delhi. I'm in Bangalore, I want to reach Delhi, right? You're telling me route A, I'm telling you route B. That's the only difference, right? Your goal is to go to Delhi. No, they're telling whether you learn via internet or whether you went and physically sat in the classroom. How does it going to matter to me as a company, right? You come to an interview and prove yourself, you're ready to offer. So there is absolutely no difference from the placement companies as far as whether you're an online student or an offline student. Neither we differentiate nor our companies differentiate. In fact, they're supportive and they're appreciative, because they're all initially, when I said around May 2020, when we said, in fact, even among our friends and family community, they were all curious to know, yes, web development can be taught online, or mobile application can be taught online, your cloud computing can be taught online. How embedded, right? How the hardware part, how the real hands-on coding part. Yes, Mubin will cover those aspects shortly, right? So that is where our innovative delivery, our mentors come into picture, right? Mubin will talk further about it, right? I don't want to hijack his secret or his secret sauce of how he and his team makes the students skillful, right? Okay, so it has been highly appreciated. The innovative methodologies how our mentors have taken. Okay, so no difference either a company or a student is concerned. It is only whether you want to take route A or route B. That would be a thing. And I would say of late, there's a clear distinguished to learn online, because not only that, your mode of different, and our students are able to save a lot of money, right? Because when you come to Bangalore, you need to stay here, and then you travel and your living expenses. Bangalore is a very expensive place, right? So people sitting in West Bengal or people sitting in Delhi, they can connect via their internet, they can learn, right? That way your online course works out to be very cost effective as well, okay, on a personal front. Then Sudharani, I think I answered your question. Then we have Asutosh. I'm a 2011 pass out with no experience. Chances of placement, same. I think I answered many of you about your past batch students, so no difference. Okay. Then we have Rafiq, who is asking, sir, I completed BCA and I'm a front-end developer. I am not basic. I am not a basic electronics. I want to change my career as embedded engineer. Is this course help me, right? So Rafiq, as far as our hiring companies are concerned, right, they expect people to be of minimum having a BTech or a MTech qualification. They're still not entertaining BCS, right? Even though they could knock down all the branches, right? About in last October or November, we opened up the course for all the branches of engineering. Whether you are a mechanical engineer or you are a civil engineer or a chemical engineer, you can do this course and get placements, but not for BCA students. So that means to say, if you take this particular course as a BCA student, will you get a placement through us? The answer is no. Again, it's not from our side, it is a limitation from the hiring company. They minimal expect you to have a BE or BTech or ME or MTech. Okay. Hope that's clear, Rafiq. Then we have Rishikesh. I'm a third year ECA student. How can I get an internship in embedded system, right? Rishikesh, I think this is a different question. We are in this webinar, we are talking about our full-time course. We also offer a free online internship, which runs for about 4 to 6 weeks timeline. You can look at our website and register there. In fact, we launched our batch last week. I think about 1,800 or 1,750 students have been offered internship. Check out that. That's absolutely free. That's more of a learning purpose. Please note, internship doesn't come with placements. That's more about in order to promote the learning among college students. That's more from our skill building initiative. We do it for free. Please check out our website. We'll get more details. Okay. Again, the question about VLSI and embedded, I think I answered Akshay's question. Then Nitin is telling, sir, I have zero knowledge about C, C++. Do you teach things from basic? Absolutely. All the students, when they come, we don't assume any knowledge. We start everything from ground zero. Rather than learn and come, I would say come here and learn in the right way. Okay. So all the modules will assume that you are starting at ground zero, because we have variety of audience. You can see that some are recent pass out, some are working and doing the evening course, having a different experience in a different domain or different technologies, right? So our approach is very clear and simple. We start everything from level zero. Okay. I think Akshay, I think I answered your question. Then Rajesh is says like this. Okay. Then we have Rakshit Shetty. Hello sir, this is Rakshit. I'm working in automotive domain as mechatronics engineer, but want to join embedded systems as a developer, and Qualcomm is my dream company. Okay, so I'm 2020 passed. This is a good time to switch. How the effort should be added? What is your opinion on that? As I told, mechatronics, people who are coming from the mechatronics, that's also a very good branch. In fact, one of our recently placed a student, I think I don't have his picture, it will be there in our social media, who is from mechatronics, but he could get a job in NXP, right? So I don't see any issue, Rakshit, with respect to you being a 2020 pass out. And if you're working in automotive, that is going to be an added advantage, because automotive is where the major shift is happening, right? So if your dream job is Qualcomm, you are most welcome. Okay, put your efforts, definitely you can land in there. Okay. Then we have Muzaffar. Suppose I work for a company for 2 years in embedded domain, and then my experience, will it be count in VLSI? Right. So Muzaffar, I don't recommend that, because VLSI and embedded are two different, entirely two different areas. Right. Don't mix it. Okay. Even though they're related, okay, even though you're telling about should I concentrate on body or life? Right. Body is like hardware. Right? Life is nothing but software, embedded software. So don't try to do that. In fact, if you're willing to do, make the choice now. If you decide to go with VLSI, take a decision now and build your skill in that area. Doing embedded for 2 years and again switching to VLSI will be very, very challenging, because VLSI is not a easy puzzle to crack. The skill levels requested that I'm talking about chef or a paratha master, right? This is even more specialized. It's like super, what do you call, something like Chinese food specialist, right? Something like that. So definitely that's not good. That I would not suggest. We would not suggest that. So better take a decision now and then take the appropriate decision. Hope Muzaffar, that's clear. Again, Akshay, keep on, I think multiple messages is sent. Guys, in case you sent a message, you're not seen a reply, don't worry. All the messages are reaching me, and you will not be able to see each other's messages, right? This is a webinar, so every message is reaching me. Don't worry, right? Then, okay, so there's a question, Sandesh. So why is the difference in packages of students, right? Some got 5, some got 9, some got 2.5. How is this, right? It depends on the company and your skill set, right? Okay, if you are skilling yourself high, and if you are performing well in our modules, you have all the reasons to see. Please note, Sandesh, right? Companies are not entitled to give you anybody higher salary. If you demonstrate the skill set, definitely they will give. That's why we say salary is a range, right? Okay, it varies. We have an average of about 4 lakhs, right? It ranges all the way up to 27, and we also saw around 3-ish type of companies are hiring, right? So it purely depends on the student, how well he or she is able to build the skill. For example, the same batch, same mentors, and same batch, one student goes for 14 lakh salary, another student goes for a 4 lakh salary, another student goes for 3. I think that's quite natural, isn't it? Okay, it's about how well you are able to build a skill. From our side, there's no limitation. We are not going to tell, oh, this student don't give high salary, right? We are not going to say. Companies are the best judge. When they see you, your skill set are worth enough to pay, they will pay. Otherwise, they won't pay. As simple as that. And then Ajay is asking, I'm working Huawei, yeah, okay, shift wise. My shift 2 days evening, 2 days morning, and 2 days night. My God. So I just want to know, is there any impact created while I attend interview? I want to transition my career into embedded core company, right? See, companies will not see this as any issue, Ajay. As I already told you, whether you work in a night shift or a day shift, they're not going to ask, right? But what you need to be careful is, assuming that you wanted to join our course shortly, right? How you are going to manage your timings, right? Okay, today morning, today, like your timings will be extremely seems to be erratic, and I don't know how you physically are coping, right? Today like this, I don't know. Physically also, it will be very hard for you. What I would recommend is that try to streamline your shift to some timing, either morning time or evening time, because we had students continue to be there who work on shifts. Some work on US shifts, some work on UK shifts, right? Okay, depending on the zone they are supporting, primarily in the customer support type of roles. Okay, but it's in a fixed timeline, right? So that they can choose the batch, because we run a day batch, we run evening batch, we run physical offline batch. Mubin will cover on the timings part of it, so that we can choose the appropriate batch. Because if you 3 days, 6 days, you are in a 3 different timelines, you will not get a common time where you can spend for our course, right? That would be the challenge I see. But as far as the hiring companies are concerned, they don't care. Why they will care? They'll maybe ask, okay, why you are doing. Maybe you tell the same reason. Okay, I want to switch my career. I did this course. This is my skill set. If you can show, that's absolutely fine. And by the way, I have n number of stories where people come from technical support in call center, BPO, coming and skilling themselves and getting into core jobs, right? There are a lot of people like you. Okay, I don't see any reason why you cannot do that. And then we have Guru Prasad Naik. So I have completed my diploma in 2017 and electronics and telecommunication. After that, I have joined CTTC Bhubaneswar and joined as a trainer for embedded and IoT. But I'm continuing my BTech, and that's my final year. So I want to join Emertxe for my career. My student suggests to join their course. He already completed the course and got job. Can you guide me? Can I join the go? It is a very interesting story, right? So some student who was taught by Guru Prasad joined our course. He got a job, and he go and recommended the professor Guru Prasad to take up our course, right? So, so you are continuing your BTech in your final year. So no worries, Guru Prasad. You can first complete your BTech. That's important. As I told, I think there's another question about BCA. Companies do not entertain BCA students. First, you complete your BTech degree. I think you're doing in a part-time mode. Then you enroll for the course. No problem. Okay, if somebody asks what were you doing, you can very well tell about your past experience. So I don't see any issues. But my important part is you complete your BTech. That's the only recommendation from my side. Other than that, I don't see any issue you landing into a core job like how your students have done. Okay. Then there's a question from Subbu. Will Linux drivers will be covered? So Subbu, Linux device drivers was part of our course. In fact, even if you look at our website, we still list Linux device drivers as one of the module which we primarily deliver for upskilling, or the corporate training, where I mentioned, right, 2 to 15-year experience people, we deliver the courses. We are doing that. So what we have found over the, I think about 4 or 5 years is that for an entry-level course or an embedded level course, right, students are finding Linux device drivers is very hard to grasp. Okay, so that's the reason we removed Linux device drivers and introduced Qt if you are doing an offline course, and if you're doing an online course, that is module also not there, right? And companies also don't expect you to know Linux device driver. Okay, so that's the reason it's not part of our course. But yeah, working professionals, they still have the requirement, and as to time, depending on the company's requirement, we deliver the Linux device driver training. Okay. But it's not part of our course now. Hope that's clear. Okay. Then we have Karthik. Karthik is asking, so am I able to attend core off-campus drive during final year college, right? No, Karthik, because our companies expect you to join immediately, right? Whenever you saw so many students, so many people getting placed, right? It's not like a campus interview where they offer you at the end of 7th semester and then they wait for 1 year to join. That doesn't work in our scenario. Whenever they select you, they ask you to join immediately, right? In few cases where they are already working and they need to serve some amount of notice period, we work it out, right? So what I would suggest is you can join in your college final year, utilize your time. Okay, build your skill set. The moment you complete your degree and you have your PDC, right, pre-degree completion or a provisional degree certificate, let us know. You can start applying. In fact, we have good amount of students who are doing our course now, who are going to pass out in 2022, right? I would say it's really good if you take the decision, because by the time you finish your course, let's say June 2022, that's when your batchmates will be figuring it out how to achieve core job. Your resume will look far better. You would have obtained much better skill set, right? Rather than coming to us, that is, you are 2018 or 17. If you are in the third year, if you are coming to us, or your final year coming to us, that's really a great decision, right? That will only put you ahead in the job market by the time 2022 opens up. 2022 will open another, I would say, at least 4 or 5 months down the line, right? That time you will be in a much better position to apply. But not before that. You cannot apply when you are studying. We will not allow you, because they will ask you to join. Can you join next week, right? And they will expect you to produce your BTech provisional degree certificate or degree completion certificate, right? That becomes a problem. Okay. So don't worry, you're not alone. There are many of us already doing, 2022 folks are already doing the course. You can very well, take the same route what they're taking. Hope that's clear, Karthik. Okay. Let me move on. A lot of questions. Akshay is flooding me with VLSI or embedded. Okay. Okay. Then there is a question from Shivani. Shivani is asking, so I am finally at electronics and telecommunication. I'm very interested in robotics, embedded, and IoT. I got placed in Tata Motors, but still I have second thoughts to explore more things. So what is your opinion? How should I pursue, right? As you told Shivani, yes, this is again a likely concept where you already have a service company job and you have time left with. Try to see that in those 6 months time, how you can utilize, and then you can shift to core job before even you join the Tata Motors, right? In fact, that's very smart way to do things, because you're not hurting your parents, right? If you go and tell them I will not join Tata, right, then they will probably scold at you. Show them that you have a better offer in terms of salary, career perspective, and then make a switch. So utilize your final semester or when you are in your college, okay, by skilling yourself in embedded. Hope that's clear, Shivani. And that's a question from Pavan. Offline mode and online mode, what is the fee structure? So in this fee structure, I will share a slide in the end. You can get in touch with our student counselors. They will, or the technical counselor, they will be able to help you with respect to the cost of the course, right? Then I think, okay, we have Ajit Kumar Palaniswamy. He's from Government Engineering College, Srirangam. I am following long time. I asked many questions to your place students via Instagram. They were told Emertxe is a very good platform for embedded system. So I almost ready to join your embedded course. Now I'm in final year. I complete my graduation. Definitely I'll be there. I preferred offline mode. Welcome, Ajit. As I told you, right? Many times when you see the salary levels and coming every, people always get doubt. Okay, who is really happening? That they do go and check. They go and say, follow the selected students, ask them in Instagram, get their phone number, talk to them, figure it out, right? Very good. I'm happy that our students have given the right feedback. That's what they experience, right? That's what they share. Looking forward to having you in our course, Ajit. Okay, offline or offline, that's your choice. You decide to do a route here to Delhi, welcome. Okay. So let me go down. Okay, yeah, I mean, there's a question from Satik, similar about the salary structure, which I answered. Akshay is real as embedded. Akshay has flooded my screen. Okay, no problem. Then there's a question from Vinod. He's telling if it is an online student, how the hardware will be handled. I think that's a very smart question to ask. As an embedded aspirant, I'm learning online. How do I deal with hardware, right? Please hold for some time. Mubin will be answering your question in the next section. Oh my God, Akshay is flooding me with a lot of questions, same questions. It's copy pasted, I guess, a lot of times. Okay, all right. Let me take probably a couple of questions and then I'll hand it over to Mubin. So there's a in case if you miss some questions, I am sorry. We'll come back and pick it up later in case if I'm not answered. Harshil is telling I'm studying masters in mechatronics engineering. Now I have 3 subjects and thesis left in my course. If I get placement, what should I do? As I told you, you will not get placement if you're doing your degree, right? You have to complete and then only you can apply. So you can join the course along with your MTech or BTech, complete the degree, complete our course, or rather complete the minimal modules from our course, then start applying placements. As I told you already, one question asked, right? Companies want you to complete your master's or your undergrad, right? They don't want you to join them without completing your course, your college degree, right? They cannot do that. So then there's a question from okay. Sandesh is asking, sir, in worst case scenario, is it possible that someone may not get any job, maybe due to near gap or so? Okay, it's a very good question, right? Okay, is it is it possible that I may not get a job, right? Okay, I think it's a very fair question that anybody should ask, right? Okay, what is the worst scenario can happen, right? So I would like to answer in 2 ways, right? One is like in our placements when you join our course, right? Anyways, the skill building part, Mubin will cover shortly. From the time you complete your course, okay, so you can start applying for placement from 3rd month after 3 months of your course. Let us say you join us in February, and then say March, April, and May. After May, you can start applying for placements, and let us say another 2 months, June, July, you complete your course. From the time of you completing your course up to 2 years, that is till June or July 2024, right? You'll get 2 years of unlimited placement opportunities, right? You can apply as many companies as you want, right? So with this level of coaching or the mentoring that what our technical team gives, and 2 years of unlimited placement opportunities, right? So we don't see any reason that why any student will not go without a job. Okay, that's my answer number 1. If it still happens, you are responsible, right? Means the student has not built the right set of skills, right? Okay, so that's what I would say. So end of the day, we are like coaches, right? We can, you change Ravi Shastri and make Rahul Dravid, tomorrow you make Anil Kumble. That's a different story, right? Okay, it is the team who has to perform, right? It is your confidence and your skill, which is, because we are not going to attend your interviews, right? It is your job to perform in your interview, right? So as long as you focus on the skill and the placement opportunities, we don't see any reason why any student will not get placed. But if at all it happens, it's purely your responsibility, right? We don't have any other answers to say. Hope that clarifies Sandesh, right? And then there's a question from Ajit. He says, sir, I want to go to car field. Okay, which course you prefer, embedded systems or IoT, right? Again, it's a very long question. Ajit, just I'll hold it. Probably I'll try to answer it later, right? Car, probably is talking about automotive. How in online classes lab sessions are conducted? Nimalan is asking. Nimalan, just hold on. Mubin session will answer. Questions about hardware, questions about lab, right? Especially the online students may have similar questions, right? Okay. Just hang on for some questions. And again, Ajit is asking when the course is starting. Hang on. I have a slide about the course dates. You can do that, right? Then Shivani is telling, thanks a lot, sir, for answering. I should complete the training if I not failed it. After the Tata Motors training, I should join this course, or should I drop the offer and join the course? I just want your opinion, right? So I don't say either drop or don't drop. Join right now, so that before even your Tata Motors joining date comes in, you have another embedded job. So that way you have a reason to convince your parents also, and you are not dropping and job also, right? So definitely, let us say you are 2022 pass out. Definitely, I don't know the timeline. Let us say, for example, Tata Motors are giving you joining date. Let us say August 2022, because June, July exams gets over. I think even exams are getting pushed due to pandemic. You guys will be better to answer that. I'm seeing all the semester timelines are getting pushed, right? Suppose you join now in another, let us say as soon as you complete your engineering, before the Tata Motors give you a job, right? Okay, if you do all the assignment and projects well, you will be definitely having a job in your hand. That way, you can make the decision irrelevant. Before that itself, you will have a core job in your hand. Let us think like that. Okay, rather than keeping the Tata Motors in front, right? That becomes like keeping a big rock in my front, and then I'm trying to move the rock. That's not going to happen. Ignore the rock. Focus on our skill set, our course, right? If you are interested to join, right? Then achieve success. Then think about the rock. No, if you keep a rock in front, you will not be able to think freely. That's my opinion, Shivani. Okay. Then there is a question from Vaibhav. Hello, sir. Good evening. I am the student from Skill Link. I don't know what is Skill Link. Okay, I'm having skill set of model-based development, MATLAB, Simulink, and eager to work in ADAS domain. But nowadays, automotive companies are asking more about embedded system, how it is beneficial for me. Okay. I don't know about the model-based development and all. Okay, I don't know this. I think you are doing another course. That's what I understand. Okay. So if you look at, no, again, I'm not an expert to comment on the model-based development, but if you look at the automotive companies which are hiring, which you saw companies like Robert Bosch or Continental or Vitesco or anything for that matter, right? So they do expect the skill set what we have in our course, right? In terms of programming, in terms of hardware interfacing, in terms of your what do you call Linux related skills, which is more conducive for you to build the core of embedded system. Okay. So if you have skills in that, yes, in fact, good number of our folks, right? In fact, last week when we discussed about the autonomous cars and self-driving cars, even electric vehicles, right? ADAS are very much an integral part of the modern day automotive, right? So definitely you can get a job provided you have the skill set what we have in our course. I cannot comment on the model-based development and other which MATLAB and all which you are having, Vaibhav. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Nimalan is asking about lab sessions. Hang on, Nimalan. Okay. Then Vaibhav, I think you are still asking the same question. I hope I answered. Vaibhav, thanks a lot, says Shivani. Then is there any flexibility of time from 7 p.m. onwards? Says Saurabh. Saurabh, hang on. Mubin will cover his part of it. Then probably we'll talk about the timing. As a UG student, when should I join Emertxe? Okay. I would say ideally in your final year. Okay, 7th or 8th sem would be the ideal time. Whether you have a job like what Shivani is telling about Tata Motors or any other service companies, if you're a college student, that will be the ideal time where you completely utilize your final year or last 6 months. In fact, we had phenomenal success stories also. As I told, by the time your batchmates get this realization of core job and how do I start searching, you're already ahead in the job market. Okay, if you're doing that, anyways, in final year, right? Okay, what happens in colleges, right? So I will not further talk about it. So utilize that time, okay, and build your skill set. I would say like that, Rishikesh, right? Then Sandesh is talking about, sir, can you, sir, explain in short about career roadmap of an embedded software developer? Okay. So let me briefly talk about it, then I'll hand it over to Mubin. This will be the last question, guys. I'm sure Mubin may be waiting, right? So when I join an embedded system developer, right, how my career is going to look like, right? So your career will be combination of a vertical and a role. Okay, when you say vertical, we have a lot of verticals. Let us say, for example, you have automotive, consumer electronics, IoT, robotics. That's all verticals, right? Okay, that is one part of it, right? Then the second part which you're talking about is nothing but your role. Okay? What is that you are going to do? Whether you're going to do development, whether you're going to testing, whether you're going to do integration, whether you're going to do a field support, etc., right? So your career will be combination of this, right? Either you will be doing a development in an automotive domain, or you will be doing a testing in the telecommunication domain, or you will be doing integration in a, let us say, an IoT, right? It depends on the company. So that's a combination with which your career will progress, okay, to start with. Then you start taking more responsibilities, right? You start as an individual contributor, develop more projects, deliver more projects, right? And subsequently, you build on more on your skill and start taking more technical responsibilities, right? Become a lead engineer, become a architect, become a what you call a subject matter expert or a chief architect, right? Where you design the complete product or a solution. So that's how the what you call the model, sorry, what you call the career path of a embedded system developer works, right? Then there is a question from Vinod. He's asking, sir, one important question. Recently, some IT company kick out a lot of employees. This core field, how long we can work? Okay, that's so Vinod. Going back to my example of restaurant, right? You need to understand why they're kicking off, right? IT employees are kicking off employees because they're relatively, if you see, right, those skills are easy to train and replace. Okay, so if you assuming you're a restaurant owner, right, kicking off a server or a person who is doing a front end is far more easier, right? That's what they're doing. Okay, but they cannot kick off a chef, right? If they kick off a chef from a restaurant, they need to close the restaurant, right? So that's how it works in general. Even though I don't want to comment broadly on a services IT company, right? But as far as the core companies are concerned, it is reverse, right? Okay, where more number of jobs are chasing lesser number of skilled people. In fact, every core company we talk to, whatever the logos we've shown, right? We talk to company day in and day out. They're all struggling to hire, whether they're startup, mid-size, big company, anywhere you go, right? There's one common problem all of them have is, "Arey yaar, I'm not getting people. Can you give me? Can you give me?" Right? Can you give means give me once? Can you give as a company, right? Emertxe, can you give? Right? That's a challenge. So there is absolutely no need to worry about core jobs. In fact, you can be ascertained, right, next to at least couple of decades, right? You can be assured if you build the right set of skill set, next 20 years you don't need to worry about your career in core. Okay, it's becoming unshakable. And to if I tell these numbers, I don't know what you think. Engineers, technical people in India, in Bangalore, in core, they're getting salaries about 1 crore rupees in India. Okay, 1 crore rupee as a salary. I'm not joking. Okay, I have data points with which we talk, right? Okay, so that's the level of and they're doing technical job. They're not doing any jazzy thing, right? They're doing a technical job. People are getting salaries of 1 crore rupees. It's all possible. It's about the skill set and how long you can work, as long as you can. Okay. Only thing is you have to keep on learning. Okay, things change, the technology change. You need to adapt. But as of now, if you ask me, next 2 decades, nothing to worry. Okay. Okay, then Prathamesh is telling, has Emertxe thought about an embedded system with the EV application course in the near future, right? Prathamesh, see, that's again the way how you look at it, right? People even come and ask me, would you develop a course about embedded system applied to what you call a machine learning, right? Okay, so our way of looking at it like this, right? Okay, so you are coming and asking me, would you teach me how to drive a Mercedes Benz? Okay, or somebody is coming and asking me, would you teach me how to drive, let's say BMW? Okay, because Benz or BMW looks very flashy, it looks very contemporary and looks very exciting. Somebody will say, would you teach me how to do a what do you call your Toyota, some high-end car? I don't know. Okay, Mercedes and BMW is what I think of, right? Rather, we would say whether you drive a BMW, whether you drive a Benz or any other high-end car that's better for that matter, what is more important? When I learned my car driving, right? My car driving test, I failed 2 times and I passed. Okay, I'm a poor driver. My colleagues can comment on it further. But when I learned from a car driver, right? Okay, car teacher, where I went to learn my driving, he said was ABC, right? Accelerator, brake, clutch. If you use these 3 things well, you can drive any car literally, right? Yes, there will be some variation between car to car, right? So our embedded course, we don't want to looks very flashy by putting terminologies like electric vehicles or machine learning or AI, even though we are thinking of it. But pretty much what we are convinced is that stuck to foundations, right? Teach any student how to use accelerator, brake, and clutch. Tomorrow, even the car changes also, they will be able to drive. And in fact, hiring companies also time and again come back to us and say, focus on fundamentals, right? Don't make it look flashy. In fact, I will not talk about IoT, right? I would say one of the most abused word in the industry, right? Everybody talks about IoT. Everybody talks about data science, right? The core stuff, the core problem solving, the core algorithm design, the core hardware, interfacing, the core operating system skills, right? This is what is important, as similar to accelerator, brake, and clutch, right? So our approach is like that, Prathamesh. So we don't want to look flashy just for the sake of it. Rather, we want you to learn and get results, right? We don't want to do just for namesake look flash, right? Whenever you do something, you find a result. Suppose you go to a doctor, he puts a very great board and very nice building, right? Would you go to the doctor, or would you go to the doctor where he gives you a small prescription, you eat and you get cured, right? You go to the second one. So I would say our approach is like that. Okay, even though there are a lot of things going around EV, robotics, and IoT. IoT. If I talk, I can talk whole long. Some of you are asking questions. I am consciously avoiding that because if I talk about IoT, I can talk whole day, right? We have a lot of experience about building an IoT course, right? So that's the reason, Prathamesh, we want to keep it basic. You learn A, B, C, you go and drive any vehicle. Even if you see the companies which are hiring, right, they come from all the verticals, right? And our students have been successfully recruited and they're doing very well. And in fact, a good number of our students become interview panel. They come back and tell us, sir, they're not good in basics. I'm not able to hire. Okay, they call us and say, why emerging students, they did not answer these questions well, right? They give us feedback, right? They are also expecting the same. Okay? So that's why I don't see we don't want to do anything for the sake of it. Yes, we do have some plans about EVs, machine learning. We'll see how the future spans out. But as of now, if you ask me, right, we are more than happy to do what we are doing, but do it much more, what do you call, rigorously, and make more people get jobs. That's our focus, Prathamesh. I hope that answers, right? I think I'll pause here, guys. It's almost running out of 2 hours, right? We planned for 2 hours, right? Can I take a feedback? How are you guys feeling? Are you able to connect? I'm still seeing question coming up. I know, right? Today it's already 9 p.m., right? Thank you, says Sonal. Are you able to connect whatever has been spoken so far? Hope you're not getting bored, because online session typically it's getting bored, and generally you guys drag me into the discussions, right? Okay, thank you. Are you getting bored? Hope you can postpone your dinner for some time, right? Today. Okay. Getting really motivated. Excellent, sir. I'm a lot more confident, says Nibin. Sudha says thank you, right? Because Mubin has got a whole lot of slides to cover, right? Okay. Don't run away. I hijack his timing now. Okay. Vaibhav, I think you have a lot of things to say. I think you want to reach out to me. You're asking my email ID as well. Just email to training@emertxe.com. Okay, training@emertxe.com. Just mention in that mail that you want to reach out to me. Okay, my name is Jaykumar, as I told, right? I want to understand your case little better. Okay, so that we can consider you. We can guide you better. Okay, is that fine, Vaibhav? Okay, all right. Training at Emertxe. My team will route it to me. Don't worry. Okay, I'll also take a note. Vaibhav Bharat. All right. So can you proceed to the next section about the technical part of it, folks? We still not got into the core course demo part of it. Can we start the next section? Yes, no?
Yeah, sure, Jay. Yeah.
Okay, Mubin, over to you. I know I hijacked your time. So let me put in the slide mode again. So I request Mubin to take over. I will help him probably to run through slides, and he also has a demo. Then that time I'll change the owner also. So go ahead, Mubin.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. I think we are like almost 2 hours right into the session. So I'll walk you through like what the course demo looks like, because many of you are requesting for like a demo sessions. What we've done is we have like taken like edited video of our current like sessions, so that you can have a view of how the classes are delivered, and you'll come to know that like be it like online or offline doesn't matter, because the way our mentors are delivering the course, anybody sitting at home with a laptop should be able to understand things in a way like which is very easy for somebody who doesn't have a background in embedded systems also. So Jay, I think you need to give me access to share the video.
Yeah, Mubin, I'm just changing the access. Yeah, Mubin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'll do is I'll have two recorded sessions of different modules which we teach. One is C programming and another is microcontroller module. So you can like have a look at how the C specific topic is taught, and I'll play it for a short duration. I know we are running out of time. And also I'll also play a recording of a microcontroller module wherein you'll come to know how the hardware simulator is getting used for like a course, online course. So let me play. Jay, maybe you can check if the audio is like it's whether it's audible. I'm playing the video now.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
These are the total memory allocated. Now,
Yeah, it's
after
audible,
an
Mubin.
array has been declared, maybe I want to give the values into the array, because just the array's declaration will have garbage value. Assume I take int array of size 5. Okay, there has to be 20 bytes of memory allocated. Assume this is the 20 bytes of memory allocated for the array. So I'm storing 5 integers. So each integer takes how many bytes? Each integer takes how many bytes? Correct. So each integer takes 4 bytes. So if the starting address of the array is 1000, where will be the next element present? If the starting address of the array is 1000, where will be the next element present? Assume this is 1000. Where will be the next element present? Yes. Each of the element uses 4 bytes. So it is 1004, then 1008, 1012, 1016. To access the array's element, you have to go with something called as the index number. An index number varies between 0 to size minus 1. So very first element will be in index 0, second element will be in index 1, third element will be in index 2, fourth element will be in index 3, and fifth element will be in index 4. Okay. If you just declare the array like this, the array's element will have garbage value by default. So in order to not have a garbage value present inside the memory block, maybe I want certain values to mate sit inside it. In such cases, I have to do the array's initialization. To initialize the array, here inside the curly braces, I have to give 5 elements: 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. In that case, that value will be written here. That will be 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay, this is how I declare the array. This is how I do the initialization, and this is how the memory for the array will be allocated. Accessing happens with respect to the index number varying between 0 to size minus 1. See here, data type, name, size, where size represents the number of elements. So the total memory occupied by the array is number of elements multiplied by size of an element. That is in turn size into size of the data type. If this is the array I'm going to take of 5 size with the values 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, this will be the array. So the very starting address of the array always is called as the base address of the array. This address 1000 will always be called as the base address of the array, or you can also call it as starting address or address of the very first element of the array. All of them means the same, but we usually refer it as base address. Okay, you can call it as base address, or you can call it as the starting address, or you also can call it as the address of first element. Okay, the starting address is called as the base address or starting address or address of the first element of the array. So then it is plus 4 plus 8 plus 12 plus 16. Index has to vary between 0 to size minus 1. So it has to be starting from 0. An array is a collection of similar data type. Elements occupy consecutive memory locations. First element will be in the lowest address and last element will be in the highest address. Elements are indexed from 0 to size minus 1. So if the size of the array is 5, index will vary from 0 to 4. Accessing out of the range array elements would be an illegal access. So whenever you have to access the elements of the array, you have to go with the name of the array, then the index number. Okay, so array of 0, array of 1, like this, you have to go with the index number. So if the index number varies between 0 to 4, I can access only between array of 0 to array of 4. Out of the boundary, that is accessing array of -1 or accessing array of 5 is not allowed. It is an illegal access where you might get to see a error. So accessing out of the range array elements would be illegal access. You should not access the elements in array of -1 and array of size. And once the memory for the array is allocated, it can never be altered in the runtime. That is, while executing the program, the array size can never be modified. So if you declare an array like this, it will be 20 bytes of memory allocated for sure. So this size can never be altered throughout the program. Again, here in double denum of size 6, there will be 48 continuous bytes already allocated. You never get a chance to increase or decrease the size once it has been allocated. So this is the concept of array. Clear this much? Okay. So have this one noted. The next we will see is how to print the elements of the array. Okay. So there are different ways of printing the array's element, which we will be seeing shortly. Before that, have this one noted. So the next we have got is to print the array's element. So when you are supposed to print the array's element, we usually go with the name of the array and the index number. But that has to be done on a repetitive manner. So what is it necessary to be used? What is it necessary to be used if I have to print? Yes, loop is definitely necessary. So I can print the array's element in any of a loop considered. Observe. Okay. So first I try printing it in a for loop. Int array of size 5. I also do the initialization with 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. I need another integer variable I for the sake of index. So I will first say it as printf arrays elements are. Okay. So I run a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 5 and I plus plus, because 5 is the size of the array. Inside this, I go with the printf. Sorry. Yeah, so printf %d \n comma array's name with index. Okay, so first array of 0 will be printed. When I will have a 0 taken, then array of 1, then array of 2, array of 3, array of 4. When I becomes 5, 5 lesser than 5 will be condition false. You come out of the for loop. Observe the output here. So I'm compiling and executing. These are the arrays element which I am printing using a for loop. Let me change this. I try printing using a.
So hope you got a idea of how the online sessions are taken. This was for a very short duration. So please note that. Okay, just a second. Yeah. So this was a very short demo of one of the topics, which is array. Jay, can you be on mute? Oh, thanks.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah. So please understand that in between the learners or students are allowed to ask questions. So we have edited the video so that you don't get bored. So the students who attend these online sessions will have access to the chat window, or they can interrupt the mentor by raising hand and ask questions, and their doubts will be clarified as well. So I'll play another video which is related to microcontroller module, wherein you'll get an idea of how the online classes are delivered along with a hardware simulator, which will look like a real hardware. So with respect to online delivery of microcontroller module, you will not see much of a difference between online or offline, because the physical hardware which used can be accessed directly using on a desktop-based simulator. So this simulator is called as PixSim Lab, which is available free of cost, and you can install it on your Windows PC or Linux PC as well. And you can download it, you get a real feel of a physical hardware. And that's how we have solved this problem of availability of a real hardware, right? So you don't have to purchase a real hardware. You can use this simulator and install it on your PC, but you can run a program which is written in a programming language like C, compile it into a hex file and load it. You get a real feel of a hardware. So this way we have solved the problem of people who are opted for online course. They can learn everything in detail without actually purchasing a physical hardware. So I'll share another sample video for the microcontroller course, so you can have a look at it as well.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. In today's class, let's see how we can write an embedded program to toggle the LEDs connected to the board bit. So now to write the embedded program, we are going to use the tool MPLAB XID. So you can see here. So this is the MPLAB XID. If you open this, you will see this as a starting page. So some projects are mentioned here, data sheet is available here. Even if you worked on some recent project, that list is available. See, and even you will get the microchip login. So if you have a login ID password, you do the login, and you can do the purchase on a microchip website, right? Okay, so now let me go back to the question. So question was, we wanted to toggle the LEDs connected to the port D. So now here in this MPLAB ID, you can see these are the different tools available. So we can use these tools as per the requirement. For example, this is to create a new file. It's to create a new project. It is to open the project. This option is to do the build. You can see different many options are there. So as per the need, what we will do, we will take an approach. Whatever we need it, we will start using those things. Now here in this MPLAB XID, I already created a project and kept it ready. So project name is what? LEDs. So in this project, I created. So when this project is created, this MPLAB XID create some organized sections. You can see here. So now to write this program, to write the embedded code, we need a main.c. So generally .c files goes here in this source file sections, header files goes here, make file will go here, linker script will go to this section. Or if you need any libraries, if you are planning to add any libraries, then those goes into this section. And finally this is the place for your executable file. So let me go to the main.c. So you can double click and open the main.c in the editor window. So now you can see I'm defining two macros. So instead of using port D directly, so what I did, since if you see the hardware, on the hardware, so you are having total 16 LEDs. So this is the PiximLab simulator board. So it's having total 16 LEDs. So currently we are going to toggle LEDs connected to the port D. These are the these are the 8 LEDs out of 16. So these 8 LED array we are going to toggle. Toggling means on off we are going to do. So now since I'm having 8 LEDs, I'm defining the micro LED array as a port D, and to give the direction to the port pins there is a register RISD. I'm defining that with name LED array data direction register. Now you can see here comes my main. So here I'm calling init config function. So this function is to do the initialization. So what we are doing, so in main itself we are not doing initialization. It doesn't look good. So there is a separate dedicated function to do the initialization. It is init config. So control will go here and here in this init config. So initially what we are doing, if we are using LED, we need to set the pin direction as output. So I'm writing my LED array data direction register as a 0. It will set port D pin as the output, and to start with initially I will keep all LEDs connected to the port D as a off. So to turn off the LED I need to load 0. So I'm writing here 0. So LEDs remain off, fine. And here comes our while one. So if you see any embedded system, once you turn on the embedded system, it runs forever, right? It goes into infinite loop. So here come my infinite loop while one. So inside this while one we are going to write our application. So what is our application? We wanted to toggle the LED. So here is my instruction to toggle the LED. So I'm writing LED array equal to tilt of LED array. So what it will do, it will toggle the values of this LED array. If it is 0, it will make it 1. If it is 1, it will make it 0. So now you can see. So this is what 0x00. So after execution of this instruction, this LED array value becomes 0xFF. So entire port becomes 0xFF. All port bits become 1. So all LED turn on. LEDs are going to be turned on. And here what I'm doing, so before going to this instruction once again, I'm putting the delay. So if this delay is not there, what happens? We will not be able to see the LED toggling. So it will happen at very faster rate. Due to the persistence of region, we will not be able to capture it. So I added the delay. Then after this delay, what happened? Next time, since we are in the while one, control will go back here. So again, we are changing the LED array value from what? FF to 0. So now what happened? LED become off, then again delay. So like this way, we are making LEDs on, LEDs off. Fine. Now. So we have to build the code. We have to compile the code. How we can do? So here in this mplab xid, I install x8 compiler. So that's why this header file is also included related to the compiler. So now how you can do the build? So you can see here is one option to do the build. So let me click on that. It will start doing build. My project is getting a build. Now you can see build is going on. So it will take some time. Please wait. Now see, build is successful. That means your hex file is created, and even it will give you the memory summary of your project. So now my hex file is created and it is loaded also. Now what we can do, so we can load that hex file where in this board. So we can run that hex file here in this microcontroller. So this is the heart of this board. So basically here we are using PIC16F877A microcontroller. So we are going to load the hex file here. How? So you can go to the file, you can select the load hex, and you have to navigate wherever your project is stored. So let me navigate. So now, just for the sake of simplicity, I kept the project on the desktop. So let me select that. Now again, you have to go to the distribute directory. So basically, you have to use this path. After build successful, it is prompting the path where X file is available. I'm just referring that. Then you have to go to the default production. Here is the X file. Let me open. Okay, expected output is what? These LEDs should toggle, but it's not happening. Why? Because these DIP switch related settings are not done. So to turn on the LEDs connected to the port D, this DIP switch, second one, you have to pull this switch up. So let me do that. So it's down. You have to pull it up. So let me select. Now you can see the change here. So what this program is doing, it's running in this microcontroller and it is toggling the LEDs. And even we are able to see the toggling very clearly, right? Okay, so this is our program, our embedded code to toggle the LEDs connected to the port D.
I hope everyone got an idea of like how the microcontroller module is taken online. So you will get access to a IDE wherein you can write a program, you can compile the program. After compiling the program, you can use the simulator, which is called as PicSimLab. And using this PicSimLab simulator, you can run the microcontroller program, which you call it as a firmware. And you can actually access it as if you're accessing a physical board. So all the components are like available on the board, and you can try to manipulate the inputs. You can visualize the output. You can even add like more components to it. You can interface it. There is something called as spare parts. You can visualize the output easily using the simulator. So there is not much difference between like using a real hardware and using a simulator, because the code which runs on the real hardware will also run on the simulator without much difference as such. In fact, this has an advantage. You can actually add more components easily just by adding the spare parts, which is available in another menu item. I'll stop this video demo. Maybe Jay, you can share the slides.
Sure, Mubin. Mubin, there's a question here from Prathamesh again. He's asking, are protocols like SPI, I2C, UART can be covered in this course?
Yeah, so communication protocols like I2C, SPI, UART will also be covered as part of the course, including CAN as well. The protocols are covered as part of the microcontroller course.
All right. So let me move this slide. Yeah, Mubin. Okay, so
Should
shall I
give
take
you
over the
back
control?
access?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 1 minute. Yeah.
So maybe you can run through the slides and I'll come back and show the LMS later.
Sure, no problem. Let me. All right. I think you're able to see my screen now. So let me just quickly run through a few more slides, and then Mubin will. Mubin just shown the classes and how the coding sessions are being conducted. Apart from that, we also have a learning management system where you will have access for the contents and things. So because people are asking, Akshay is asking about course content, right? Mubin will share. Give us some more time. Okay, we'll talk about that in the LMS section. So the goal of the course is basically to transform engineers with the skill gap to industry-ready engineers. So that's when you saw the skill building happens, and once the skill building happens, all the challenges that typically people face with respect to year of pass out and the percentage, etc., takes a back seat, and the skill takes a front seat, and that's where people are able to achieve their career transition. So that's the goal of this course. Basically, this course is delivered in 3 models. One is like the offline model, where people have to come to our center, which is based in Bangalore, MG Road, and then you will be taking this particular course for a duration of 6 months. And typically we recommend this course for freshers who are like, come to the center and they have time to learn, right? They are, physically need to travel and then take up the center. That's option number one. Okay. The option number two is online mode of learning, which Mubin has demonstrated. A concept explainer, like what do you call the array, and then how the mentor demonstrated the code, and then the another practical session about the microcontroller. So that's how mode of delivery happens in online. Online is delivered in two modes. One is like what you call an online regular mode of course, where again students who wanted to learn from their home, because the classes will be happening in the daytime, and then the lab sessions also will happen in the daytime, right? That's again suitable for people who wanted to learn from anywhere. And as I mentioned, we also see there is a lot of interest among people who are working, okay, or people who are studying their engineering. Because a lot of people are asking about them doing this course along with their engineering, right? I'm having my day classes from, let's say, 8 to 5, and then I want to do my course, right? Or I'm a working professional, right? I'm having my, let us say I'm doing an IT job, or somebody mentioned about the tech support job. So for them, this online evening, the same course is delivered in the evening timelines, right? So that's three modes that we offer or deliver this particular course, right? So let me go and show detailed differences between these three. And as I already told you, let me make it one point very clear before I get into the details. As far as placements are concerned, there is no difference whether you take online regular, online evening, or you come to center and learn. Absolutely no difference. I showed you enough cases, right? Permutation combination of lateral batch, even evening batch, recent batch, older batch, right? The placement wise, there's absolutely no difference, right? But the mode of delivery is different. As I told you, an example of Delhi, right? You reached path A and path B, right? Now we have three options, right? Route A, route B, and route C. But we are all reaching Delhi, right? So how are you going to reach? So let me show the comparison of these three courses in a detailed manner. These are all the parameters in which you can compare the course, the duration, the total modules, how your daily routine would look like, what are the class timings, and what is the weekly plan. Would you be given the recorded videos or not, and what type of a hardware facility will be given, and whether you will get a 2-year placement support or not, right? So let me take the first case, which is nothing but the offline course, which is a 6 months course, and we have 8 modules there. The module consists of Linux systems, C programming, C++ programming, data structures, microcontroller programming, Linux internals, embedded Linux on ARM, and we have the Qt programming, right? There are 8 modules. If you are still doubt, we can check out, and later we can share you the syllabus also, right? So how does this course get delivered? You can see here, students come to our center. They have about 2 to 2.5 hours of lab classes, and then followed by labs, right? So that's how the course gets delivered. You need to spend typically half day here, and classes are scheduled anywhere in the 9:30, 11:30, or 2 o'clock slots. So for example, if somebody is coming, 9:30 will be the class, 9:30 to 11:30 will be the class, and 11:30 to 1:30 will be the lab. So you are spending half an hour, or vice versa. 11:30 will be your class, and then 9:30 would be your lab. So pretty much you are spending. Or it can be in the evening slot, where your class starts at 2 p.m. right? This is the classroom slots, right? And of course, every class is augmented with a similar duration of labs, right? Which covers about 5 hours, right? So we don't push classes beyond 4 o'clock because people have to go home. So classes are typically from 2 to 4, 4:30 we run the class, and 4:30 to 6, 6:30 we run the labs, right? So weekly it is a 6 days, Monday to Saturday, okay, 6 days where we do. And typically Saturdays, along, even though the regular classes and labs will be there, so typically mentors use that Saturday to also drive various prep activities. For example, the weekly test, module test, company specific coaching, etc., will also be happening on Saturday, even though the regular class and lab also will be happening, right? So that way Saturday we use it for that purpose also. Okay. In the offline courses, we will not be giving recorded videos. As I know you would have made out, right? All our classes are live classes, right? Whatever we shown, Mubin has shown, just we recorded it and made some minor edits to showcase you. But all the classes, whether you are an online or an offline student, they are live classes, right? But for our online students, we also record them and give it to you in form of a learning management system. That's what Mubin will demo after this section. where in case you miss a class due to certain unforeseen circumstances, let us say your network was down, or you that day you need to reach late, or you had a meeting in your office, or whatsoever may be the reason, or you want to revise before you go to the next day's class, a recorded session will be given in the online, which will not be provided for the offline student, right? With respect to hardware, there are two modules which are dependent on hardware. One is a microcontroller programming module, and the embedded Linux on ARM or ELAM module, right? So for that, we provide PIC and ARM-based boards. For PIC, we use the Rido Labs CAN PIC board, okay? And then where it is available in our facility, can come take it, check out, take it to your place, learn, and then while going, return the board and go, okay, physically, right? Similarly, for embedded Linux, we use ARM boards, which is nothing but the BeagleBone board, BeagleBone Black, which again is one of the popular ARM-based boards available, right? So boards will be provided to you physically from our front desk. You can check out, and while going back, you can give it and go. Okay. So 2-year placement, as I told, very much applicable for offline course also. So this is a profile or a configuration of a course who wanted to come to our center and learn. Okay. Now moving on, and the online regular module, right? Online regular. So here the duration is slightly altered. For example, it is a 5-month course, the online course, and we have one module less in online regular course, because we felt in an online mode, right, making the course too long will be quite challenging for us to engage. And also, as you know, when you come to physically, people see us face to face, etc. Right? That's the only reason why we kept it as 7 modules. Because of that, there is no placement discount, right? Okay, everybody will get the same opportunity, right? Now, coming to daily routine of an online student, they have 2 hours of class, right? That 2 hours of class will be, again, could be in the 9:30, 11:30, or 2 p.m. slot, right? You have 2 hours of classes. And apart from that, 1.5 hours of lab will be there, where the lab mentor will be explaining the problem statement. Again, lab consists of 2 parts or 3 parts, I would say. One is the lab problem solve explanation. Then you go and start doing the assignment where you need help or support. And then finally, the mentor will assess you, right? So in online, what happens is, like in offline, 2 to 2.5 hours, you can sit in the center. That way you can see physically, you can interact with the mentor, which is not feasible in an online. So what we do is, like 1.5 hours for 3 days, there will be assignment explainer sessions where you can get to know what is to be done in the assignment, and then you can start coding on your own. And that's where you get doubt, right? For that doubt clearing, we have this 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. support line. So typically we are using WhatsApp, considering the ease and the adaptability perspective. So you can chat with our mentors and get your doubts clarified. Okay, so that's the way the support works. The class timings is similar, and 6 days a week, there is no change. And as I mentioned, in our online students, the recorded videos will be given, okay, as a part of LMS. Just give us a few minutes, Mubin will demonstrate that, right? You can play, and then you can go through them in case you missed a class or you want to revise, right? With respect to boards, as Mubin just demonstrated, he demonstrated the PIC board, where you are using a simulator. You can very well install in your computer itself or in a laptop, and it's open source, it's absolutely free. You can have the same learning experience what you will have with that board. Okay, there won't be any compromise with respect to your learning learning effectiveness, right? Whether you learn in the physical board, or you can just saw, right, how the mentor just kind of change the switch and then the LED start glowing, right? Exactly the same learning experience you will have it in the simulator also, right? In similar lines, instead of the ARM board, we have another ARM simulator called as a CHEMO, which you will be using in the embedded Linux module, right? Again, this course comes with a 2-year placement support. There's no difference, right? So moving on to the third configuration, or a third mode of delivery, which is nothing but an online evening mode, where the timings are fixed. Like, for example, everything will look the same with respect to the online regular module. You will have the 2 hours of classes here also, but only thing is, here timings are fixed, right? Your classes will be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. so that people can attend the classes after their work or college hours. So typically what we are seeing is the college students who are in their college, people ask me, right, I'm in the 8th sem, can I wanted to do, right? And neither you can come physically to Bangalore and learn, because you'll have your final semester, nor you can attend your daytime because you'll have classes going on in your college, right? Same goes with the working professional, right? For them, the online evening batch will be ideal, right? So they have the same 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. classes. The labs are slightly altered, because 1.5 hours, again 3 days, if you look at in the online regular students, it is quite lengthy for a working professional. So our mentors are slightly modified, where instead of doing 3 days into 1.5-hour sessions, every day 1 hour for about 5 to 6 days. So if you look at multiply, right, it will almost the same amount of time the mentors are giving, right, for the lab explainer, assignment explainer. Again, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. the support line will remain the same. So this alteration is done in order to address the nature of the audience, either you are a college students or a working professional, right? Again, rest all will remain the same, 6 days a week, recorded videos, simulator, and then the 2-year placement support, right? So this is about the mode of delivery, online, offline. Again, let me repeat, there's no difference with respect to placements. Let me move on. So again, online mode of delivery, as Mubin mentioned, it will have a concept explainer and then code along what you saw. The mentor will explain the code. You also need to try on your own, and then you get an output and you can ask doubts, because we edited it for a easy to understand purpose, right? It will be there. And then assignment explainer will happen, like 1 hour, 1.5 hours in case of online, or in physical classroom it's a combined, so you'll be able to do that and get the support also, right? In online, what happens, you get a support after that via the WhatsApp message. You can put it in the group, or sometimes many of the students are very shy to ask questions in the group, so they ping our mentors 1:1 and they get the doubts clarified. And then evaluation happens. All the assignments and projects go through the evaluation provided by our mentors. And then prep sessions, as I mentioned, we do the resume preparation, interview preparation, tips and tricks. So it's a comprehensive delivery model delivered in our online as well as in the online. But this slide more talks about the online mode of delivery. Okay. So skills and capability wise, this is the level of module names. Like you start with Linux, C and C++ programming. Then you move on to data structures, Linux internals and microcontrollers. And then you move on to embedded Linux, and finally get into the preparation mode. And what happens is, once you are completing the level 1, which is nothing but the C++ programming, which happens around the 3rd month of you joining the course. Okay, after that you can start applying for placement. So here is the benchmark where you obtain this skill, and then you can start. I'll shortly show you the Google group also, where you are mentioned about the skill level with which you can start applying. And then as you complete more modules, you can start applying, right? And then from the time you complete the course up to 2 years, you'll be getting an unlimited placement support, as I mentioned initially. So this is about the how you do the skills and capabilities part. Moving on. And each subject is provided with projects where you will be able to build, and we expect students to build about on an average 7 to 8 projects, and some of our high performing students even went up to build about 15 projects, right? So that they can bag a premium job with so much projects in their resume. And other activities we do, it's called as Disha sessions or Disha workshops, where we do various other activities like how to basically prepare a resume, because many students face challenges or they write resumes in such a way that it's not impressive, right? So we teach how to make your resume very impressive, make it very compelling for the recruiter to hire you, right? And we teach you how to face interviews, and time to time our mentors will be conducting workshops which could be topic specific, and sometimes they see there are a set of type of companies coming, so they may. And we also collect the from the our students, we keep collecting the questions what has been asked in the interview. So we've been building a question bank. So we'll also be training you based on that, so that when you go to the interview, you are better prepared to answer, right? And there are some students who come with a different set of aspirations, right? They want to do higher studies, for example, right? So we help them with letter of recommendation. And some of our students, I think there is a question which I think I couldn't answer. Good number of our students have gone abroad after doing this course. They went to some of the very well-known universities. For example, some of them went to Carnegie Mellon, they went to University of Colorado Boulder, etc., National Institute of Singapore, and then they're doing well, right, in their career. Some of them are working in one guy is working in Apple, and was in SanDisk, right? So a lot of abroad success stories also there. You can again watch out for our YouTube channel, where people are based out of Canada, US, Singapore, Europe, Germany, right? Good number of our students are able to bag good admissions from top-notch universities, and when they go there, they also get good amount of TA or RA, because they have a good profile of embedded in their resume, right? So if you are not looking for a job, you say, no, sir, I want to learn and bag a better admission in my abroad. That's also great. Okay, so we'll help you with LORs and necessary support that you need. Okay? So that's about the Disha. And before I get into demo, I think there are a good number of questions. So let me see whether I can answer, or I'll hand it over to Mubin to answer. So there's a question from Sandesh. Which laptop configuration is good for an online class? Is there any specific configuration required? Mubin, you want to answer this?
All right. So as such, you don't need any high-end laptop. Maybe a decent laptop with minimum we recommend is like i3 configuration, maybe 4 GB RAM. That would be good. If you have more than that, then it's an advantage like to run these simulators. It will run a little bit more faster. So
Okay.
minimum like i3 with maybe 4 GB RAM or even higher, it will be better.
All right. So let me move on. There's a question from Nimalan. Class timing for online and offline. I think I clarified, Nimalan, in the previous slide how the various timings and these things work. Let me just quickly flash it for your reference. I hope this clarified. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions. And then there's a question from Sandeep. If I take offline course, can I get recorded class? Or if I take online, how long recorded classes will be available? Mubin, you want to go with this?
Yeah, as already mentioned, for offline, we don't provide recorded sessions. But for online, I think the recorded sessions are available at least like for a year. Even after like course completion, it is available.
Okay. So, and there is okay, after course completion available, right? Which module is not available in online class? Sonal is asking. I think she's referring to QT module. Mubin, you want to go with that answer?
Yeah, so only one module differs with respect to online module. So as you see here, like we have 8 modules in offline. That extra module is called as QT programming. So here we teach a module which is related to UI development for embedded systems, which again, like some of the automotive companies are using nowadays. So that module is additional here in the offline course. So that is taught towards the end of the course. So even before that student gets placed, they don't get a chance to even complete that module often. But that's a difference.
Okay. So then there's a question from Rafiq. I think Rafiq is asking this question. I skipped in the previous thing. So currently I'm doing BCA. If I do MCA, is it possible to get a job in embedded? So still I would say no, Rafiq, because the companies are not open to consider MCA. In fact, we get similar question from MSc students also, right? In fact, many students from MSc electronics, they come and say the MSc electronics and BTech electronics, BTech EC, right? The syllabus looks same. Why don't you allow for placements? It's not about us, right? It's about the hiring companies. So companies are still not open to consider MCAs and MSCs, right? But hopefully it will change in future, okay, because over the last few months we could break the branch barrier, right? October, November, we said any branch people can do. Before that, they were particular that only an EC or EEE students only are allowed, or CSE students are allowed. That we could break, but we still not able to break the MC and MSc puzzle yet. Okay, hopefully things can change in the future, but as of now, we cannot commit, right? I hope by now you realize that we whatever we commit, we do, right? So we will not be able to commit for MCA student or an MSc student about the placements. Hope that is clear, right? Then there's a question from Akshay. I am from Pune. I want job in Pune. Can I get a job in Pune or Bangalore, right? Akshay, see, being in Bangalore, our center is based in Bangalore, and also being Bangalore being the tech capital of India, and also it is getting the global startup world also. I would say 90% of the companies are Bangalore based, right? So we are seeing they hire and they deputy in the Bangalore branch only, right? So however, we started seeing some companies coming from Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune, and also very few from NCR regions and one or two from Kerala, right? Okay, there are a few of them. Pockets are emerging, but we will not be able to commit you, right? Because companies also want you to be coming and working the Bangalore locations. And there are some companies like L&T, they'll say, okay, we'll give you multi, because they have multi-center and multi-office, right? So if I don't think you should be too particular that to being starting a career that I'm from Pune, I want to work from Pune, right? So I would say being open, but I would say as a statistically, 90% of the companies are based out of Bangalore only. Hope that is clarifying, Akshay. Okay. Clarifies your question. Then there's a question from Sonal: is affecting that module not completed in online as per placement? So the question, Sonal, what Sonal is asking, Ubin, by having that one module in extra in offline, is it affecting placements?
No, not at all. Okay, so as already highlighted, we start placement from the third month, right? So companies do put across the requirements telling that, okay, they would expect somebody to know certain subjects. So for example, they may say, okay, you should be good in C and data structures. So these are initial modules, like which you will be completing, let's say in third month or fourth month. And you don't have to complete all the modules for you to get a job. So the trend we recently see is that, okay, people, like most of the people, they complete like 4 modules like C, data structures, etc. They start applying, they get a job. So, and the remaining module, most of them they complete by watching like recorded sessions because they're already working. That's a trend we are seeing of late. So that one module doesn't make, I would say, much difference, any difference at all.
Okay, so thanks, Mubin. Then there's a question from Manikandan. So what's the lab hour for the evening batch? Is recorded video available for lab 2 or 3 classes alone? Okay, I think the timings are there. You can see in the screen, Manikandan. The lab happens between 6 to 7 p.m., almost like 5 to 6 days a week. Okay. Yes, the lab sessions also get recorded. All the recorded session, whether it's a class or lab, everything will be made available. If you wait for a couple of minutes, Mubin will show the LMS where you can access not only the recorded videos, even the other support materials also he'll be showcasing shortly. Okay. And how long we can access the recorded video, I think that also Mubin has already answered, right? And there's an interesting question. Akshay, request you not to flood yourself, right? I think you are flooding my window. Your questions are reaching me. I request you not to type the question again and again. I'm not able to see others' questions, please. Huh? Your questions are reaching me. So Chintan is asking, can mechanical engineering graduate do this course and get placed? Yes. Okay. If you would asked me this question last year, September or August, we would have said no. In fact, it's a very interesting story. I still share it in the interest of mechanical engineers or non-EC and triple engineers, right? So last year we had some students from mechanical. They came and asked, I want to do the course. Will you give placements? We said no, because companies are very particular that they want only EC or triple or computer science for that matter, right? But they said, no problem, sir, we'll do the course. And they said, it's fine, to go ahead. But finally, those students got placed, right? Then they came and told us we got placed, and even though I'm from a mechanical engineer, I got a job in automotive companies, right? So they came and proved us wrong. Then it was an eye-opener for us. Then we reached out to all the placement companies and asked, right, are you specific about branch, right? They said no. As long as they have the right skill set, majority of the companies said they are branch agnostic, right? So that way, mechanical engineers can do the course, and mechanical engineers are getting placed from our institute doing the same embedded system course. In fact, more than us, I would say our students have proven ourselves wrong, and companies are also very much open to that. Hope that's clear about the mechanical engineer part, right? So when is the batch starting, sir? I know Akash is asking. Just hold on. In my slide, I have the next set of batch dates, right? Akshay, job responsibilities of embedded engineers, I already clarified, right? Okay, all right. So Mubin, I think we can go to the demo of LMS.
Sure.
I know we still quite overshot the time.
Yeah, I'll try to maybe make it short.
Yeah. So let me share the screen with Mubin. Yeah, go ahead, Mubin. So there's again, let me take some question. There's another question from Sandesh. Is asking, sir, electrical engineering, electronics and power eligible or not? Very much eligible, right? Because there are a lot of variants. In fact, if you come to Karnataka, we also seeing people from, they have some branch called biomedical engineering and all, right? Where there's a mixture of electronics and bio in picture. We have students from mechatronics, right? So I'm then electronics and communication. Some colleges have only telecommunication. Some colleges will have electronics and instrumentation. Some will have only instrumentation. All the branches are eligible. I'm telling you, even mechanical and chemical are eligible, right? So you don't need to worry at all. Okay. Hope that clarifies, Sandesh. Over to you, Mubin.
Yeah, is it my screen visible, the browser window?
Yes, yes, it is.
All right. So this is called as an LMS. So we have LMS hosted exclusively for the students who take up our course. So LMS stands for Learning Management System. It's a web-based portal wherein student gets access to resources like course materials. They can participate in online quizzes. They can view the assignments and submit it, as well as projects are available in the LMS and so on. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through maybe one of the courses so that you can have a complete picture of what all is available in the learning management portal. And maybe if you have any questions, you can ask. So this login is for one of our existing students. I logged in. I've taken maybe the login details of that student and I've logged in. So details will be shared to you as soon as you enroll for the course. Once you enroll, you will be shared with the username and password details. You can log in and access to the course. Now this particular student has completed many modules, and you can see here the current module is listed here. This is the recently accessed course by the students, which is called as Linux internals. So other courses are also listed here. For example, embedded systems, advanced C module is listed, C++ programming, data structures, okay, and Linux internals, Linux systems, etc. shown. Apart from that, like as we told, we conduct something called as Disha workshop, which is nothing but sessions which will focus on like preparing your resume building, how to attend interviews, or any particular basically module specific interview prep sessions, etc. will be held, and we'll share you access for the recorded sessions. You can watch those videos or you can attend the live sessions as well. So you can see the progress of the course as well. Okay, as they are completing the course, they can see the progress as well. So more importantly, you can also see like company specific prep sessions or prep tests are available. For example, like NXP interview prep test is there. Then you can see Qualcomm interview preparation test is there, and so on. So apart from like modules which we teach, we also conduct company specific tests, which will be scheduled as and when there is a need. And you can take up those tests, and based upon the performance in the test, we often send the results to the companies. And that's how the shortlisting also happens for premium companies. You can see a lot of people are already logged in here, like your colleagues, you're basically the given to them if they are part of the same batch. Okay. So on the left side, you can see like courses are listed. You can go to any course. And on the right hand side, you can also see like upcoming events. For example, you can see tests are scheduled, right? Linux internals Viva test is scheduled, Linux internals module test is scheduled. So towards like the end of the course, we schedule something called as module test. So everything is accessible from this portal, and you'll get a complete picture of how your course is progressing. Let me maybe click on a specific module, let's say Advanced C. Let me navigate to the Advanced C course. So when I navigate to the course, you can see a different context menu here. I can check my grades. I can navigate to the course topics, etc. On the right side, I can it's displaying the assignments, the categories, different categories like my assignments, my attendance, feedback. Okay, we are always open to feedback. Like if we have any concerns, any issues, or any feedback you want to share, you can always post in the feedback section. And there is something called as discussion forum. So most important thing for a student is that, okay, often they get stuck, right? So maybe it could be a simple doubt or it could be something related to your assignment or project. So we have something called as a discussion forum. You can go to the forum and post your doubts, and mentors will be happy to answer the queries as well. Then there is quiz and resources. So if you see here, like let me click on the attendance part just to give you an idea like how it looks like. I can show you like let's say all courses. So we can see the progress, right? So you can see like for this module, like how many classes are attendance. So this student is a very good student. Hope. Okay, so you can see like almost attendance is 100% for this specific student. Then maybe I'll switch back You can also see like some announcements are there and so on. So here you can see different topics are there for a specific course. So we have basic refresher, then there are documents available like problem solving is one subsection, introduction to C, right? Quiz is there. So let's say I want to navigate to this quiz. I can click on this quiz. So this student has maybe has not taken the test, so we can attempt the quiz, for example, right? So any student who is enrolled for the course will get access to the LMS, wherein they can go through the resources, go through the documentation, take up quizzes, okay, ask questions, and there is some gamification here. Like whenever you do some activity, whenever you participate, submit an assignment, or maybe take up a quiz, you will see like some level or some basically badges are allocated to you, which will help you motivate you to score better, right? So it says like you scored 945 levels and maybe points, you can score more, which is highlighted here. This encourages basically. So projects is also listed. So project documentation, project template code, everything will be shared to you. So if you notice here, for a module like Advanced C, we are conducting like 5 objective tests. So objective test will help you to check where you stand in terms of concepts, right? So concepts are often checked in interviews also. So when you go for interviews, the first thing they ask you, okay, how good you are in C module. So we will make sure that you are ready for the interviews. So for that, we schedule tests as and when the topics are completed. You can take up these tests and you can actually get to know where you stand in terms of specific topics. So for these tests also, we conduct like follow-up sessions. So what is a follow-up session? A follow-up session is nothing but a session which will be taken after the test is completed. So all the answers, all the questions will be discussed and solution for that also will be covered. So this will make sure that students are left with no doubts and the concepts are cleared. Similarly, we have tests for like at the end of the module, there's something called as a module test. So you can also have a look at the assignments. So different assignments are there. For example, in the C module, we have around like many assignments for different topics. Let's say around 50 assignments are there, and then there is a project. All right. So you can also check your grades as and when you complete the assignments, you will be given graded. So your overview report, if you check, you can see, okay, which module, how much you have scored, etc., will be listed here. This is for your reference. You'll come to know like what is the progress of the course and so on. So this is typically how LMS looks like. So I have not gone through the slides, etc. So slides will be given for each topic, and this will be like used as a reference by the mentors, as well as you can use it as a study material for you. Now, so let's say, for example, you have any doubt, right? So how do I basically clarify my doubt? So there are two options. One is you can use the discussion forum. So I'll show you one of the batches discussion forum, how it looks like. So you can see here, I'm in the discussion forum window. So here students are posting questions, right? So maybe you may be familiar with like Stack Overflow or similar forums wherein you can post questions. So you can see like students are posting questions here. Let's say a typical question here. Maybe I'll click on this. Okay. On specific question. Okay, Shell Linux module. The question is there. So students can post question. Even other students who are familiar with the answer, they can also answer. Mentors, for example, the admin is also basically moderating the session, and other basically folks are also discussing in the thread. So the important thing for any candidate who takes up the course is that they should not be left with any doubts. So multiple channels are there to clear doubts. One is you can use the discussion forum. Others in the lab session, you can ask questions, and mentors will be glad to solve your issues or basically problems during the lab session as well. Okay, so this is an example of how a thread is running for a specific topic. Now, apart from that, we also have like WhatsApp group for different batches. So I hope you can see my like WhatsApp groups here. So we can see like even at 9:54, people are asking doubts and our mentors are answering. Okay, even though we say till 7 p.m. there is support. So let me take one specific maybe batch. So this batch is 21023 batch. I'm showing like maybe some logs with respect to this batch. Okay, I'll just maybe scroll down. So you can see it's all live, it's happening live. Whenever you have a doubt, you can post questions, you can ask in discussion forum, we can contact in WhatsApp. So this is the beauty of basically the support mechanism which we have. Okay, maybe I'll just randomly pick something. Okay, so for example, Sachin is one of the students. He's asking some question, right? He's posting a screenshot of one of the issues which is facing. He's mentioning, I'm getting like this. What is the issue, right? So basically, he's stuck somewhere. He doesn't know what is wrong, why it's not working. So you can see the thread, how it's going. Okay, our mentor is responding. Okay, she's asking questions, and it goes on, right? So I don't want to basically read you the messages, but you can see back and forth exchange is happening, right? Some questions are being asked by the mentor, they're answering. Okay, they are posting the screenshot again. Then some other person, this second person, is asking questions. So two people are asking different doubts here, you can see. All right, then somebody is answering the question here. So eventually I'll show you like how is it getting resolved, right? You can see some screenshots are getting passed, and you can see how it is going, right? And some videos have been shared also. Okay, so the student is telling I'm doing, right? Okay, so eventually it says issue is resolved, thank you, right? That's the message we're getting. This is from one student. Let me basically scroll down further. Okay, he's telling us subscribe the video as well, like the video for the solution, right? You can see here the screenshots being exchanged. So this is for the second thing. Thank you, got it, ma'am. So I'm just showing a sample of typical how a day-to-day activity goes for students. So even though you're online, we are there to support you using multiple channels. It could be through lab sessions, which is like live sessions. It could be through WhatsApp. It could be through discussion forum, and so on. Okay. Similarly, for placement companies, we do form like groups. I'm typing LG. Okay. So whenever there is a placement drive happening, we also create dedicated group for that company, for that specific drive. Okay. So here we can see this is like LG Soft, which is like February 2022, right? So you can see, okay, here like some students got placed, congratulations is happening, but you can see like every communication is very much streamlined. Okay, whenever a placement drive is scheduled, so our placement team creates a group. You can see exchange of messages happening, right? Okay, questions are shared after the interview, so that next set of students, right, who are taking up the interview or the next batch of students can also prepare well based upon these questions. Like the schedule is posted, even though we also send the schedule in mail, some students may sometimes miss out on the mail, so we send the schedule in detail for placements, right? And you can see like all information is getting shared here, who is getting shortlisted for the next round. There'll be multiple rounds, right? Eventually, right, we see the happy news here, right? Did you get, like, you can see here, congratulations, receive the offer letter, receive the offer letter. So this is today. Okay, this is live happening today. You can see so many students got placed in a company like LG. We are just congratulating them. Okay, they got the offer letter. They have to report Monday at 9:30. So that's all from my side, Jay. Maybe over to you. I hope all of you got a idea of what is an LMS, what is the learning management system, how is the support system available to an online student. So please note that offline student also will get similar support. That's not much difference, except that they're coming physically here. So this LMS portal.
Yeah. Sorry, Mubin. There's a question, Mubin, that is LMS available for offline students also?
Yes, it's available. Okay, so LMS is available for offline students also, but the only difference is that they don't get access to recorded videos. Okay, let me show here. So one more thing just missed out here. So you can see the class recording is available, right? So for online students, you can see separate section for class recording, like these are like real video recording. If I click on it, I'll just click on it. Okay, and you can see the link for the recorded session. You can click on it again and it will open up. Okay, so recorded sessions are available. Okay, so I'm not going to play this. It is just a sample of how the live sessions are available to us. Okay, so you can play this recorded video. Any more questions?
I think let me just check, Mubin. So there are questions about fees. I'll go to that. I'll share my team's connection contact details. And then yeah, online, offline, you clarified. Good effort in impressive content. Keep it up, sir, says Ajay. Thanks, Ajay. Mubin, credit goes to your team.
Yep.
Yeah. So Nidhin is asking, do I need to install Linux? Mubin.
Yeah, so some of the modules, right, require you to use Linux. So the initial session, like 1 or 2 days after you join, we have like a dedicated session for Linux installation. So you'll have to install Linux, and our system administrator will guide you on how to install the Linux operating system. So not to worry about that.
Okay, yeah. So in the LMS wise, the difference is, yeah, I think Ajit is telling, right? Ajit Kumar Palaniswamy, yes. In terms of LMS, between online and offline students, the only difference is the recorded videos. Rest all remain the same. Okay, Mubin has already clarified that. Yeah. All right, so I think that's it. Yeah, thanks, Mubin. Maybe I will last few slides. I think it's already 10 p.m. All right, so let me run through the last few slides now. So I think we answered almost all the questions what has been asked by students. I will not again repeat, because again it's already 10 p.m. now. We have been sitting here for almost 3 hours. So placement, as I clarified, one is like about the process point of view. Let me quickly take 2 minutes and show the Google form, which Google um, Google group, whatever you saw in the backend, the preparation thing. In the front end, as a student, how this works. Let me quickly show you. So from the front end, like what Mubin showed us a back end, like how the preparation, how the support, etc. happens. So this is more like front end, how the placement will look like. We have a Google group where you can see almost every day so many actions happening. Whether the company has come, you can see apply now, and then you can see people who got shortlisted, and then when is the interview, and people who got shortlisted will get a separate notification about when to attend the interview, when to basically go the schedule, along with the WhatsApp group, right? So this is an open group where we have all the students. But by the way, when you say open group, only for Emertxe students, right? And then the congratulations message, right? You can see every day, you can see a lot of threads running around every daily basis, right? In terms of companies, congratulations, application, and all the information will be shared about a particular company. Whenever a company comes, salary, work location, skill set required, and then the interviews, etc. Everything is shared here. Okay, so that for example, when you take SASCAN, so all the company related information, skill set, academics, eligibility, salary, bond, application. So this is where you apply, right? Then you can go through. So this exclusive again for students, both online and offline students will get access to the group the moment you join the batch. Okay. So this is about the group. We go back to the final slides, right? And then we also have NSDC affiliation. So people who take up this particular course, it's affiliated with Skill India. So which means to say, once you take up this course, you will go through an assessment from Skill India, and you'll get a certificate from Skill India, like as you can see in the screen. We'll also give emergency certificate, no worries, but this is a certificate from Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which comes under one of the ministries under central government. And there have been some challenges due to pandemic in terms of assessment. We wanted to restart soon, but this is an example of how a student got some time back. And we'll also add our institute details, seal and everything. We'll be giving you the hard copy of the certificate. In case if you're an online student, we will be couriering you because they mentioned to give it in a hard copy format only. Okay. So this is about the certification. And some of you asking about the course and fees. So let me just put up this. So these are the course dates are planned. So on 22nd February, we are planning the online course, online regular course. And 24th February is where our online evening batch is being planned. And 25th is where the offline batches are being planned. So typically we do three batches per month, depending on the student interest. You can choose whichever is suitable for you. And many of you asked about the questions about fees. So unfortunately, we will not be having time to discuss that. Again, fees is a separate topic on its own. So however, there are our team of counselors available who will be, I think many of you will be already in touch with our counseling team. In case if you are not, you come directly to this webinar. You can note down their contact details. You can probably take a screenshot of it. Very simple, training@emertxe.com is a mail ID. And then couple of numbers are given. You can reach out to them and then clarify your questions about the fees. Okay, fees again depends on your installment payouts, your scholarships, etc., etc. So they will be the right team to explain you that. Be rest assured, they will clarify all the information upfront. Okay. So that's about the fees and dates. And last but not the least, we are quite active in social media. We are active. Majorly, our focus has been on the Instagram and LinkedIn. You can watch out our channels. In case if you are not, Emertxe IT is the same handle. You can follow us in Instagram and LinkedIn. And any queries, any questions, you can post. And some of you are already chatting. Our team tries to post all the information, whatever we discussed quite regularly. Our team posts. You can interact through us. And in case if you are based out of Bangalore, you want to come and visit us, you are most welcome. We are based out of MG Road, near the metro station, walkable distance from MG Road metro station. You can come. Our counseling team will be there. They will be more than glad to meet you and clarify all your questions. Right. That's pretty much what I have. Is admission open for every month or per 6 months? Says Sonal. Every month, Sonal. Every month we start batches. So this I shared for the February dates. Similarly, we'll also have batches in March and so as in January, right? Every month we'll be starting the batches. So the one which is shared is for the this month, right? Okay. Again, if you have some preferences, you want to check the next batch date, our counseling team would be the right contact people to clarify you. Okay. So let me put back once again in case of your interest. So this is a slide. You can take a screenshot or you can store this information. So they will be able to share all the information. Okay. So that's it, guys and girls. So thank you very much for being patient. I know it's not easy on a Friday night to sit through a 3-hour long session. We started at 7 p.m. It's already 10:10. It's more than 3 hours. But as I told in the beginning, the slides are same for us, okay, and then the contents are same for me and Mubin. It is your interaction, your questions is what we enjoy. Okay, we go on and on and on and try to answer all your queries, right? So thank you very much. And another point, this session is also getting recorded. Okay, so we will give us a day or two. We will put it in a YouTube place and then send you the link. And in case if you feel this video can be helpful for your friends or anybody, feel free to forward. No patent, no copyright. Even if you attend next month session also, it will look the same. Only thing is few data here and there. You will have March data added to it, right? So we pretty much talk the same vocabulary every time we meet, right? So that's it. So may I listen to some feedback? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of happy faces here. Good explanation, says Nirmal. Good night. Then thank you so much for amazing experience, says Sonal. Thank you for giving valuable information. Lot of information gathered. Thanks for both respected sir, says Vinod. Thank you. My pleasure, Vinod. It was a great webinar. Thank you so much, says Shraddha. Again, there's a question about fees. As I told, my counseling team would be the right people to answer. Right? Mohan says thank you. And then Reddy Madhukar says thank you. Rafiq says thanks for this experience. And then Shruti is also telling, thanks for the wonderful experience session, sir. Thank you, Shruti. Uh, so Vaibhav is telling, one thing I like about your class is what you say to your students. You are commented for that and not playing with the career of student, and what I think is nothing hidden from the students. So okay, so that's one of our core values, Vaibhav. Okay, we are people who strongly believe in integrity. What we say, what we do, it's 1:1. Okay, you want to come to CS, and we've been doing it for 18 years. So thank you very much for compliment. But I understand you have some bad experience in the past. So please just reach out to a team, training at Emertxe. I'll personally leave a note after this webinar. My team will forward that mail. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share my mail ID because I'll be flooded. So I'll take a look into it. Either we'll arrange a session with our team, team of counselor, and ensure that whatever the experience you go through, we'll understand and we'll see what would be the right thing for you to go forward. Right? I understand you have some not so good experience with some other institute or course, right? Thanks for openly sharing that, Vaibhav. Okay. Subbu says, very impressive and course structure is good, says Subbu. Yeah, thank you, Subbu. Sandeep says, thank you so much for your information. Thank you, Sandeep. Then, Akshay says this thing. And then Madhukar Reddy is telling Warangal, he's from Warangal. Thank you. So I studied there. Happy to see somebody from the place which has given me education. Ashutosh says, thanks again. Thanks for the experience, says Vasant. Then Ashwini Sita says, thanks for the informative and attractive session. Okay, so she says we made it attractive. We're very happy. I know after 3 hours, if you're telling means we really take it as a compliment. Thank you, Ashwini. I guess you are looking forward to resume your career after a long break. I hope your queries got clarified. Please note the back end what Mubin showed, right? The cooking, the real dish where it gets cooked, right? Focus on that. The front end will happen. You will also become a poster boy or poster girl. Where 2 months down the line, or 3 months down the line, I'll show your posters to the later webinars, right? It's very well possible. But please take care of the back end, the support, the toil that our mentors put in, the doubt clarification, the classes, webinars, prep sessions. That's what make it tick, right? Not these PPTs are not the front end posters, right? It is a resultant of what happens in the back end. So as long as you focus on that, this will, it's something like you are cooking a good dish, right? It will taste well in the table. You focus on that. I know you had a lot of questions, Sita. Hope it got answered. All the best for your career break, right? Satik is telling, thank you, sir. Will the class recording get available? I want to share it with my dad. Please feel free this one. Give us a day or two. Today is Friday. Some of our team members are on off today. Early next week, I'll assure you that this recorded, the same thing, will reach to you in an email. Whether it's father, friend, whomever you want to share, feel free to share, Satik. No problem. Okay. So thank you for this information, says Ajit. Thank you, Ajit. Then Anis also tell. Then Moru Boina Chandra says, you are so patient through the call. Thank you for so thank you. So patience is what we also learned. As I told you, if you remember the first diagram, the pot making, only it will happen when you have patience, right? When you try to make it very fast, it will not work, right? So patience is not only important for us, for you guys also. Have patience, results will come. Okay. So then, sure, sir, thank you for your consideration, says Vaibhav. Sandesh is also thanking us. Ashwini, Rasika, Manikandan, and then Vinod says the entire course overall view, amazing, sir, he says, right? And then Vasant is telling 3 hours is definitely worthy. So thank you for your compliment, Vasant. Okay. So all right, folks. So thank you very much. It's almost 10:15. Signing off on behalf of my team. So thanks for your patience. So next week we'll ensure that these videos reaches you. You can reach out to a team of counselors and get your queries clarified. And my last message is, whatever the decision you make, right, whether it's embedded course, IoT course, you join, not join, that's a different ball game, right? Our request, or our sincere bottom line request from myself and Mubin is that whatever decision you take it with a long-term perspective, right? And keep it with a sound thinking in mind. Don't do it just for the sake of it. Don't do it in an urgent fashion, because you're all early 20s. You need to work for another 40 years, 50 years, because that's the life expectancy we're talking about. So as long as you take the right decision for your career, we'll be the happy people to know that, right? So that's the last message. Take care. Hope third wave is not affecting you so much, right? So see you in the next session in case you want to attend, and watch out for our social media. We are doing a lot of webinars with our external speakers also. So most likely we'll have one in the first week of March. about machine learning, etc. So our social media is our main channel. You can check it out, and then hope to see some of your webinars as well. Okay. So take care. Bye.